Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Irrelevant Podcast. Merry Christmas, because this episode is probably not going to come out till after Christmas.
A
And this just is going to be the New Year's episode as well.
Still haven't released the last one.
Yep. I mean, I guess, maybe because I'm going to bring my computer, maybe, we could do something, but I don't know. I'm just probably going to be busy over there. Yeah, fuck it. I don't know what you're doing, but
Who knows? But probably will be busy too. So
yeah.
let's make it
Are
count.
you going out of town, or, what are you doing?
Yeah, just to visit my parents, and then New Year's I'm going to Richmond for a party.
New Year's. Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Are you gonna serenade everybody with your campfire guitar?
This is Richmond, so probably not.
Oh, really? I just kind of assumed that
It's
it is Richmond because they're kind of, they're kind of.
no, I gotta dust off my slam poetry.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but I thought the same kind of. I had the same line of thinking because they're pretty blue. Um, I don't know.
Pretty blue.
I don't know if I've even been there.
It's cool and it's also really fucking dumb.
Yeah,
So
I mean it's kind of like Manassas. Like Manassas is really
it
weird.
is nothing like Manassas.
No, but Manassas is pretty cool because it has like a bunch of shit here, but it's still kind of weird where it's like, what? I don't know. Like
I
there's
will.
some confusing
I
things
will,
here.
I will say that the restaurants in Richmond are fucking phenomenal. Like there are tons of good restaurants.
Okay. I feel like most American cities like that have good. I'm like, you gotta have good restaurants in a city.
Yeah, if your artsy city doesn't have good restaurants, you might as well just fucking close shop because
Yeah,
no one else wants to go there and deal with the people.
exactly. Like, you ever been to Savannah, Georgia?
I have. Savannah's really
Yeah,
nice.
that has some cool. Not just restaurants. It has a lot of cool like bakeries and stuff like that. Like we went to like a cookie store and they had some cool stuff. Yeah, and they had some cool art stuff. I mean, a lot of the art I think is just hideous, but some of it was cool. And it
Savannah also has a big music scene as well.
yeah, I didn't check out any of that. I don't
Always local artists playing on the street and whatnot.
yeah, I didn't hear any of that actually. I don't know why, but maybe I was in the wrong part. I don't know.
Possibly. We're in the wrong time of year.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
But yeah.
I was there during the summertime.
Oh, right time of year, just wrong place then.
I guess so, yeah. But they had a really pretty Catholic church there.
Yeah, they have really pretty old architecture, a bunch of Spanish moss everywhere. We went around the time when they were doing ghost tours. So we went to a lot of spooky taverns and we did I think it was a horse and carriage drive through of the old city.
Hmm.
And they were pointing out all the old windows in the houses that were haunted and all that shit.
Is it it's not like a Spanish city, is it? It's not like ancestrally Spanish.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's Spanish architecture. I just know that the
I
only
didn't think it
Spanish I remember
was,
is the
but
moss, but I don't know.
well, yeah, the moss is just Spanish moss just because that's what isn't it just because they found it or something? I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Um yeah, the cathe like the I guess it was the cathedral, like I didn't know, but it was like this really cool neo-Gothic style, which I really like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
It's perfect for Halloween. It looks really fucking sick.
yeah, that's a good point. Um because there's like the old school Gothic, which like you could find that stuff in Germany. And those are like
Right.
some of the most gorgeous like things ever like humans have ever built. And like they're so like kind of like Gothic architecture is characterized by lots of like pointiness. Like it's sharp and pointy and like tall, and it's
Yeah.
very dark.
Very Tim Burton.
Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, like
Speaking of Tim Burton, we can go into that. I don't know if you've seen the new Netflix series Wednesday.
it's called Wednesday.
Yeah.
No, I have not heard about that.
Lots of controversy around it, but I watched a couple episodes, but there's no point talking about it if you haven't seen it. But
Yeah, I
Tim
don't even
Burton's
know what
always
that
hit or
is.
miss for me.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say that.
Well, it's about Wednesday Addams. Like
I
it's
don't even
literally just about her
I don't
life.
even know who that is.
You never watched The Addams Family? I guess that's way before your time.
I have heard of the Adams Family, but I've never taken part in it.
Okay, so
Yeah, so
completely off base
I
then.
I
Never
guess it
mind.
was before my time.
It's
From
before mine too, but I've watched I watched it a little bit as a kid. But anyway,
from um
Tim Burton.
yeah, he have you ever seen Ed Wood? It's
No.
a similar kind of thing where it's a biopic about Ed Wood. It's really really funny and it just captures this like it just captures Ed Wood so perfectly and like what he was or like what I guess I assume he was. Like do you know who he is?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so it's like Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp is also very hit or miss. And this is one of his hits.
Yeah.
Luckily, yeah, this is one of his hits. So he plays the director Ed Wood, who is like famously the best worst director of all time. Like he made so many bad movies, and but like the good thing though is like he just believed in himself, and like he thought he was making something good. Like because like one man's dream that ends up like he completely doesn't realize how bad it is always going to be funnier and like innocent and going to be good in that way than opposed to the like the movies that are just made to sell ads and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I could totally see Johnny Depp playing that depressed character.
He's not really. That's the kind of thing. Like he just has this peppy, upbeat attitude, even though like everyone else around him, like some Hollywood producer or something, like it just back when like it just is those times. He's like, well, you're some stupid woman or something. Like yeah, it makes a lot of jokes about that. And he famously cross dressed. Um, it's kind of uncomfortable, but it's not like that weird. I don't know.
Was he hot? Is that why it made you uncomfortable?
No, that's not why. But
Oh shit.
yeah, and the whole,
Fucking did wait. So did Tim Burton direct that
he
one?
did, and it's really pretty looking because he's always really good with visuals and stuff like that. So, well, like
Right.
I said, he's hit or miss because like the Alice in Wonderland movie, that is the ugliest piece of shit I've ever seen. And then,
And I'm gonna go. I hate the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reboot. I just
oh,
do.
everyone does.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the whole thing, and I'm like the parts I've seen were really bad.
That's kind of my issue with him because like I like his surrealist point of view, especially how that translates into the visual art. But a lot of it is just fucking ridiculous. But the one thing that he got a lot of shit for that I never realized that everybody was calling him racist because he
Why did he
only
do?
casted like well because not anything overtly, just the fact that he would never cast anybody that wasn't white as like an actual good character. So or anytime he had like black characters, they would just be more stereotypes, I guess,
Now that
like
I
the Oogie
think
Boogie
about,
from.
yeah, but like I didn't really think of that guy as being black. I don't know.
I mean I just thought he'd be like a jazz singer or something.
Yeah, like exactly.
He's like an old black singer from he was that, but I didn't see it as like
Yeah, it wasn't.
as a racist thing.
Yeah, it wasn't like. Yeah, exactly. Like he's just an old jazz singer because jazz is just
Yeah.
traditionally a black like style of music.
Right. Otherwise it'd be appropriation.
Right.
But for this new series Wednesday, I mean the main character is Hispanic. The Adams family is a Hispanic family, pretty much. That's the whole. Let me just explain what it's basically. The whole joke is this gothic monster family was they basically did a satire of everyday life, and the joke was that the stuff that they thought was normal, everyone else thought was weird, but the stuff that they thought was weird, we think is normal. So like,
Okay.
I it's like they basically were just playing on like old horror movie stereotypes. The family was weird. The girl Wednesday Adams, she was always into freaking people out with the dark, edgy shit that she would say.
Okay.
Or but basically that was the whole joke. And I don't know if I explained that well, but
More or less.
I can't think of any specific because I haven't seen it forever. But the whole point is that it's her life growing up in this school, and she's trying to like her dad's being framed for all these murders when she's trying to prove his innocence. But there's a lot of different diverse characters that he casted, but some of the characters that he casted were not really antagonists, but they were just kind of rivals to her. and they were black. So people are like, there are no good fucking black characters in this series. The two that are in there are just bullies. But if
Huh.
you watch the rest of the season, they have like the most character arc because it explains why they are the way that they are, and it goes into depth. Like they're not one dimensional characters.
That's good.
So it's just, I mean, the series is kind of weird. Like some of it's kind of good, but a lot of it's just Gen Z retardedness. So
Yeah, I don't really want to
it's
take
kind of
part
hit or
in.
miss.
Don't want to take part in
Yeah.
Gen Z retardedness. Hmm.
So I mean, I just think it's interesting that he's getting a lot of controversy now, even though he's just a fucking goofy little edge lord.
That's true, and like I said, like I mean, I have to give credit where credit is due. Like his cringe stuff is so cringe, but like the stuff he's good at, he's like Seth MacFarlane, where like he's a really, really talented man. He can,
Yeah,
he can write poetry, he can do stop motion and like art, he can paint and draw. He conceived of all of the design for like a lot of his movies, and like The Night Before Christmas, which he didn't even direct, by the way, which is kind of funny. It says Tim Burton's The
oh,
Night.
did he not direct that movie?
No, he was the producer, and he create like it's based off of a poem that he wrote. So yeah, so like
Okay,
that's.
I think Seth MacFarlane is the perfect guy to compare him to. There's just a lot of potential that's wasted, but also a lot of other
But
stuff
I
that's good.
still think Tim Burton's like a little better because
Yeah,
like the good stuff he has is really good. Like I said, like Ed Wood is fantastic. It's a fantastic movie.
yeah.
Um, and also what else? Like
Guillermo del Toro is kind of in the same realm. I love all his visual stuff, but he also has a lot of dumb shit too.
yeah, like Pan's Labyrinth, like based on
Yeah,
my interests in things, you'd think that that'd be like my favorite movie, and I
yeah,
liked it. I thought it was very well done, but like there's just certain things I don't know, like it just didn't really resonate with me as much as I thought it would. Like the
yeah.
main
Hellboy, I
character.
think, is my favorite.
Yeah, I haven't seen Hellboy actually.
You should. It's fucking good.
Okay, I heard the first one's like really generic, but this I heard the second one's really like vibrant and stuff like that.
The second one is the best one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay.
I wouldn't say the first one's generic. It's pretty. It's a unique concept. Well, not a unique concept, but the way that it's done, I feel like is a little bit fresh. But yeah, the second one is loads better.
So, I mean, that's what I figured because Guillermo del Toro is pretty, he's pretty creative. Like I love,
Yeah,
like you said, his design. Like I love that creature in Pan's Labyrinth, like the humanoid with like the eyes on his hands, and he puts his hands up on, like where the eyes are supposed to be. Like that looks really
yeah,
cool. Um,
yeah. All the visual shit was cool, and I think in Pan's Labyrinth, didn't they have something similar to that? I haven't seen that movie in forever.
it's in Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, I thought that was in. Okay, so there's another scene in Hellboy where it's like that kind of thing too, like the hands on the eyes shit. Like he does that again in that movie.
Oh, I see, I see.
That's what I'm saying. I think he used it in both movies, but slightly
Yeah, it
different.
wasn't exactly the same, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's cool. Like I I think it was YMS and like his crew of gentlemen someone referred like they were watching the Oscars or something. I think like one of them referred to him as like Mexican Santa.
Everybody says that about people that slightly are gray in beard and Mexican.
Yeah. No, but he like actually looks like Santa though,
A little bit.
because he's like
He also kind of looks like George R. R. Martin too. I think.
yeah, because he's like well, like he's Mexican, but he's like 100% Castilian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is kind of like George R. R. Martin. But is George R. R. Martin American? Like I don't know where he's from.
I have no idea. I assume I've heard him. He's either Canadian or American. He's somewhere North American. I don't know.
Okay. The joke is that he's never gonna fucking finish the series.
Yeah, I haven't I maybe watched like a half of an episode or a full one maybe, but I've heard that people that were super fans were super disappointed about the ending.
It's hard, like at a certain point in the series, they stopped going off of the books. Apparently,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I don't really feel like watching it.
From what I've seen, it didn't look like it was anything that special. Like it just looked like everything just reminds me of Lord of the Rings now, like a shittier version of Lord of the
Yeah, that's
Rings.
such a good because like you can clearly tell that like Lord of the Rings is just the best way to do fantasy, and everything else is just a cheap knockoff.
Yeah. I mean, to this credit, it is very difficult to be original in this song in this type of genre, but still, I don't know.
But it's established so many trends, like the elves and the wizards and like all of that stuff. It's just it's and the
Yeah.
orcs, like it's all Tolkien and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think is like the equivalent of Lord of the Rings, but like for sci-fi?
Probably Star Trek.
Okay, would you say like Star Wars too? Because you can see a bunch of influence there in like other sci-fi stuff.
Well, I would say Star Wars has more influence than Star Trek, but I think as far as like sci-fi tropes go, Star Trek probably the most is what people
That
copy.
that is true because like Star Wars, when you look at it, it's kind of like a blend of sci-fi and fantasy because it
Yeah.
blends like the scientific mumbo jumbo jargon of Star Trek and then mixes that with like the knights and like the chivalry mixed with like Eastern cult. Like it's a really interesting
Yeah.
concept. Like when I mean, obviously, Star Wars is kind of stupid now, but like when you actually look at the concept itself of like the original movie, it's a pretty interesting one. How it blends like Eastern and Western culture and religion and knights and
Yeah.
samurai. It's really cool. Like no one had ever really done that.
Yeah, I think to me, Star Wars has always been more fantasy oriented than sci-fi, and also
Yeah,
more dystopian. Whereas Star Trek, it wasn't really dystopian; it's more of like what societies and civilizations should advance to.
yeah. It
You know
was
what I
just
mean?
like
Like,
just the this is the future. Like it's not like a like
yeah,
this is what the future. If you don't, it's just no. This is the future.
exactly, and that was kind of the whole
Yeah,
point was them
it's not a
exploring.
warning. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
we've taken the next step. We can go to space. What's out there? Yeah.
yeah, it made people excited to be in the future because they had some of the technologies. Like obviously, everyone's like, oh, they predated the fucking cell phone. They can FaceTime on your phone, like all that shit. So and like the watches, being able to activate all the shit on your watch. So
I'm
yeah,
sure
I don't know.
there was stuff before that knew like the secret agent stuff that they had some kind of like utility watch. I don't know.
Probably.
No, but I mean, people had predicted the internet from like the 1500s. They just didn't know that it was going to be called the internet. Like you can,
Yeah.
like you can like read. I forgot like it was in some video I watched about people who predicted the future without us really realizing it. Like there was that guy who predicted World War II because he said after World War One, he's like, this isn't peace. It's just a temporary. You know, like it's just it's a stalemate right now. You know, and it's going to come back in 20 years, and it did. Or like like I said that guy predicted the internet. He said like I don't remember who it was or when it was, but all I remember is that it was a long time ago. He predicted that there was going to be some sort of power that would connect the world and allow us to see other people from a far distance and be able to communicate with them, and it would allow us to like exchange information at like a rapid rate,
Right.
right? Because then
I mean, it's not that difficult of a concept to think of because that's the whole point of, doing trade routes and globalizing things is you're trying to make things more efficient. So everybody's always thinking ahead how
yeah,
to do that. And it's
yeah.
hard to do that now because it seems like everything is in the realm of possibility, but we just don't know how to make it efficient enough.
Because now it's like well, we've connected the whole world. Now what?
Yeah. So it's like, how do we do this better?
Yep.
I can't think. I
Or
mean,
it's
I guess
like,
time travel would be the next big thing.
do you think we're gonna get to that?
I mean, I'm not a physicist, but the fact that I feel like if time travel was a thing, because like it's theoretically possible, but if it's realistically attainable, probably not. Because I imagine that all the timelines would be just such a fucking disaster, and obviously not even getting into the wrong hands, but just everybody that thinks they know what they're doing, one small misstep is catastrophic.
Oh yeah, because like I mean,
Or
that's taboo. Like I just think like we're just not meant to meddle with that stuff. I mean, it would be cool to go back in time, but like, yeah, like
Or if the theory is like multiple like parallel dimensions or it's different timelines, so it's like if they're changing or the past or altering the future, it's not going to be on our timeline. So if that theory is true,
oh yeah,
then
yeah.
fucking we don't
I
know.
forgot. Yeah, true. But I mean,
I don't know.
I just like yeah, I'm like I don't buy it.
I can see like wormhole travel. So like if we find a way to go to space, like traveling very long distances in a very short amount of time, or obviously time is more abstract. So I can see stumbling across those sorts of things, but being able to affect like here on Earth, I don't know.
I mean, if you have the balls to go in a wormhole, go for it. Because like, there's no telling like whether you're gonna come back, like what you're gonna see, like all this stuff, like what you're gonna encounter. Yeah, exactly. Because like it's like like Columbus, like sailing to the the Americas. It's like there's no telling of like if you're gonna come back, like what you're gonna see. Like it's a pretty like awesome thing he did. And like I
Yeah,
know it has a lot of controversy, but I'm like either way, like just like for that, like what he did, that like that was the that was unprecedented at the time, and like that was the most that was the most insane idea in the history of human anything at the time. Like
I think besides the whole genocide shit, where most people get hung up on it, was that he wasn't the first one to do it, but it was definitely the most impactful person to do it. Like him discovering it opened the door from Europe, and that's obviously as history goes. Like that's the rest of our shit. But I mean, you also look at like net positives and net negatives and all that shit.
well, right, and I
Because
think
like people were
the
just awful in that time anyway.
well, yeah, exactly, and like I think like the genocide thing, it's like is there truth to that? Yes, but it's like I think that saying that Christopher Columbus is like a genocidal lunatic, that's a very perverse oversimplification of history. And I don't think that.
I'm not sure though, because I think I remember reading that even like for his time, the people that work with him like thought that he was a little bit like over the top, and he was cruel. Like people even back then were like he's pretty intense,
Yeah, but I'm like,
to say the least.
right, and like I'm like even so, I mean like no one's perfect, but I just think like for what he did and how he literally connected the world in the most like in the bravest expedition we'd ever seen, that's worth congratulating. I think so. Like I said, did everything that like happened when he got off the boat go according to plan? Not necessarily. Like, did he make moral sacrifices? Yes, but at the same time, I just think this like what he brought to the world. It's just it's commendable.
Like I said, he wasn't the first to do it, but he definitely was the most impactful one to visit. But I don't know. I'm starting to feel like because everybody's looking at revisionist history, or they're going back and finding out like truths or more information. So it's like I don't think we are ever gonna have a very good understanding of what happened. Because like we barely understand shit that happened like 200 years ago. Like, is this
Yeah, no,
did this actually happen? I don't
exactly,
know.
and like like you said, like everyone at that time by modern standards were like awful people, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like
I honestly think if Europe didn't dominate the world, it probably would have been China.
yeah, I think most scholars would agree with that.
Yeah.
It
They were fucking.
would have been China or probably like the Muslim Empire,
Yeah,
like one of
one
those
of those two.
three. Yeah.
But
Oh no,
anyway.
yeah, sorry, no, not the three because the one we mentioned already did conquer the world. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, whoa, man, we went 20 minutes off of the topic at hand, which we haven't even
Nice.
mentioned. Well, so Jason recommended to me for our final album of 2022, "The Way of All Flesh" by Gojira. If you'd like to give me some sort of introduction to this album, that would be dandy.
Yeah, so this was one of those albums where, to me, this is their heaviest quote unquote album because their first two were more, or their first three were more of like a, I get, I don't know, like from Mars to Sirius is pretty heavy, but it was more. I feel like it was more melodic, and obviously we went into great depths of it last time, but I feel like it had more of a different feel to it. This one was more of a brutal kind of feel. But their first two obviously were more death metal, but I still think this is the heaviest one because this one has better production. I feel like the riffs hit harder. The songs feel more congruent. They weren't just like weird little displays of riff. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it made more sense than the first two did. Um, but this is one that a lot of like true metalheads I think is their favorite is this album.
Interesting.
And the lyrics focus more about like the so like the link was more of reflection. This one was the concept of dying, and it's the fear of dying, and this one resonates with me a lot because I have a lot of anxieties about death, or like when it's going to happen, or counting down the days, or like medical problems. So this is about like being comfortable with your death is kind of the whole point of this album.
Yeah,
It's natural. It's the way of all flesh is death.
yeah, that's what I got too, because like I noticed that this one, right off the bat, was a lot darker than the other Gojira albums I've listened to.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it is the darkest.
right, but at the same time, like I could still tell it was them, and it still had all of the elements of Gojira that I love in it. Um, like the last song didn't feel that far off from the last song of From Mars to Sirius.
The title track.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the last one,
yeah.
right?
I thought it had a similar kind of stroll, despite having like 4 minutes of nothing.
So that's only. Do you know why that is?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I thought that like my phone was broken for. I was like, what?
So this is the digital age ruining the audio experience. So back in the day when they released these on CD, they were hidden tracks. So it's like the song would end, and then if you waited a couple minutes, a hidden track would pop up on the end of the CD before it would reverse and go back to the first song.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of albums have that. So like Tool, for example, on the Opiate CD, that song Dark Lotus, that's on the end of Opiate. That's a hidden track on the CD. So for the what I don't understand though is for the downloaded MP3 versions, why they run the whole time. I don't know why they just didn't break it up into two different songs.
Yeah, because I was so confused, and then I dragged the cursor to the right to see at some point if there was any music, and there was, and I was like, oh, why was it such a long
so
wait? I was so confused. I was like, is this some like pretentious artistic choice of just to have 4 minutes?
I hear the nothingness.
Right, I was like,
I feel it.
It's just 4 minutes of
This
nothing.
is the death.
Right, yeah.
This is the death, and then this is the reborn and the resurgence.
Yeah, that's actually kind of not. Yeah, that's actually not a bad way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because of the lost age of CDs. But Gojira is not the only band that does that. A lot of bands with the hidden tracks, they'll just run the whole time. I don't know why, but that's just how it goes.
Right. Yeah. Well, I really did like this. It was right, like you said. It was heavier than what I can typically handle, but it never really went over the line for me. I think the only song where I think it was. Wait, let me see it. It might be. Give me a second to listen to the.
This also has a lot of tracks too. There's 12 tracks on this album of like longer songs. But
Yeah, wait. Is it the?
was it Adoration for None?
Let me see. It might be that one.
The one with
Yeah, Adoration
there's
for. Yeah, that. Like especially like the opening. I think it got better as it went along. The opening, I was just like, yeah, that's just like not my thing. That's not what I like from Gojira.
Yeah, they did more, and that's because they had the vocalist from Lamb of God as a guest, so they did like a bunch of more just straight up metal stuff on that song. But the end of it droned out, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like later on in the song, I was like, oh, this isn't as I was like, this is not as intolerable as I thought it was gonna be. I really loved The Art of Dying. That kind of like that percussion.
Yeah, that's the song.
That percussion in the beginning is just it was so interesting. I had no idea what it was going for. I was like, whoa.
If I'm not mistaken, that percussion part is him banging on like one of those metal doors in a school with like the big bar across it. I think that's what it is, and obviously with the clockwork. But that's that's probably my favorite song of the album.
The clock. That was.
But that's such an insane that drum pattern that he does when the riff kicks in. It's that polyrhythm that he does is fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, that was cool.
But yeah,
they're really
the lyrics
creative.
on this one are probably my favorite. I like the lyrics a lot on the Art of Dying.
Yeah,
because it basically the whole part of it is that like it's like this is like your journey, and the whole thing of the take no possessions in the afterlife. I'd rather travel light.
Yeah, I like when he says there. It says "Almighty TV plugged hybrid empty brain."
Yeah. just everyday life causing you stress and anxiety, and then the art of
Right?
dying is
Yeah.
releasing
Don't
all that.
don't see anything in the real game, like how all that shit just like blinds you from the truth and stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't closed my eyes in a long time.
Right, exactly.
I the thing that's interesting about this is a lot of people that will get into this think it's about suicide, but it's like I said, it's just like preparing you
No,
for death.
no.
So like I
I
think about it like
initially, yeah, like I initially thought that that's what they were going for, and that made me kind of like it. But then the more I actually listened to it, I realized that wasn't really the case.
no. And like what I think about it is like if I ever like not putting into existence, but just like getting cancer or some shit or like something that's terminal, and just you like coming to terms and accepting it, so you can live out the rest of your life in some sort of peace, right? So, putting on an album like this is what would do it for me. Just it's that just that reverence of this isn't the end, and this is going to be like your own journey. So yeah, the Art of Dying is probably the most intense song emotionally on the album.
Dude, you know a good album to listen to as like a farewell?
Which one?
Fear Inoculum.
Yeah,
It's
that's another because that's about aging
like
too and becoming weaker and all that.
Tempest. That song, I'm telling you, that's one of my favorites. So that's up there with like with Flying Whales. Of just like I think that's like one of the best prog metal songs ever made.
Yeah, it was pretty epic, especially for how long they are. Like it's crazy how like
Yeah,
much
it's
long songs can captivate you.
15 minutes, and like I love how they blended all the different styles. Like it sounded like they just blended like every single album and every like one of their eras into like one song. It was
Yeah,
so cool. And then like um I love the like who is Adam Jones as a guitarist?
yeah, he's the guitarist.
He just went off in that song.
Yeah, that was one of his. I mean, people. I don't think people are saying, "Oh, this is his greatest like his best work yet." I like what's weird to me is I like the song and I like the pacing of it. I don't think it's his best riffs, but
No, not
I think
necessarily,
everything well
but
together.
I loved his solo in like the middle of the song. That's like I get goosebumps every time I listen to it.
Yeah.
That and like this the
Um,
drums. It just is it. Wait, what is Danny Carey? Is his name?
Danny Carey's a drummer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's insane. He's one of the best drummers ever, if not the
Yeah.
best. Oh yeah, sorry. Going back to Way of All Flesh. The opening song I thought was really strong.
Yeah.
Ouroboros or
Ouroboros, and
Ouroboros.
that's
Yeah,
a
I don't know how to
really
say it.
yeah Ouroboros. That's like the Egyptian symbol of the snake eating its tail. It's supposed to symbolize eternal life.
Okay.
Yeah, so the lyrics on this one are cool. When they're talking about Ouroboros, the symbol of eternal life, dig a tunnel for light through ignorant walls, counting the days, but I'm dying, growing up with impatience and falling down. On the peaks of radiant mountains, this truth is growing before me, my attention fixed on the silence, rediscover life while I'm breathing, designing the shape of material, frozen icon, distant reminder,
Man.
mankind has forgotten the gateways, by the mouth of the serpent regenerate. So, um,
No.
yeah, but the riffs on that, the opening tapping riff is really fucking
I
catchy, and
love
they
the
do a
tap.
lot of catchy tapping
Yeah,
riffs.
and throughout the song, I love how like just like the like it sounded like I was listening to Bach reincarnated as like a prog metal guitarist or something. I could
Yeah,
definitely hear that influence of that kind of baroque music. It was really cool.
yeah, and that's the one thing is like a lot of times in metal, tapping is usually the most boring part of a song because a lot of times it's just wanking or just it's
Yeah.
supposed to carry out a
Like
very simple melody.
in the
But Gojira does
migration,
very
that
creative.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, so that's a lot of times difficult, but the Gojira always does really creative tapping riffs, which is very difficult to do. Even though they're not physically difficult to play, it's just they're difficult to make it sound interesting, kind of like
Yes,
playing bass.
like From the Sky. That's such a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they do any tapping in that one,
Or
but
like not in that beginning. Oh wait, no, they don't. That's
no,
just
it's
like
not
a.
tapping. I think you're thinking of global warming.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Because that was a simple tapped melody, but it set the emotion for the song, and that was the focal point. It wasn't just used as a cool little show off thing.
Right. The other technique is called galloping, right? Like in From the Sky. or
No,
no?
that's tremolo. I mean,
Tremolo,
they
yeah.
do gallop on a lot of
I
songs. Like
love their tremolo riffs,
yeah,
like what is it? Mouth of Kala. That's the
yeah,
best song on L'Enfant Sauvage.
yeah. A lot of time, I mean, people use it interchangeably. Like it's speed picking, and then the fastest picking is tremolo. But it's pretty much the same straight 16th notes, just at different tempos. But galloping is stuff like that's like on Backbone or on this album, the last track, The Way of All Flesh. That's galloping.
Okay.
It's playing three notes like a horse really quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, then the next track, Toxic Garbage Island. This one
I like
was
that one.
weird. It was like it's a good song, but like theme wise, it's different from the rest of it. It's like it's obviously this is like more when their environmental side comes about that big floating island of garbage that's somewhere probably near India or somewhere in the ocean.
I liked those kind of they did that kind of picking too mixed with like the tremolo riff. Do you remember what I'm
Yeah,
talking?
they did tremolifts in that one.
Yeah, but then
Yeah,
they
especially on the end
interchanged
part.
it and mixed it up with the what is it the picking is the name of the other one?
Which one?
Like the one where they just go like da 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 da. Like which one is that one?
Just tremolo.
Tremolo and then yeah, I well, either way like whatever what they're called. I just love how they mixed the different just like techniques into like the same riff. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the funniest part about it is like this song was on a thing called Nail the Mix, which is like a YouTube channel. A lot of like music producers will go and they'll take songs that will release, and then they'll have these independent creators do like remastering and remixings of them, and whoever wins a prize or whatever. But this song was on here, and people were making fun of the lyrics because he screams "plastic bag in the sea" like four times on the last couple of measures. So people did like the Microsoft talk to text for that part. It was really fucking funny. But yeah, the riff on that one is cool. I like their use of harmonics is always really sweet.
Oh yeah.
A, Si- a Sight to Behold is another environmental one. That's the weirdest one on the album. Did you like that one?
I yeah, it was yeah, like you said, it was the most unique song I think on the entire album. I did, um, like the beat was somewhat out of place in the beginning, but I think as the song went
Yeah,
along, it
it's really like electronic sounding.
yeah yeah
My only gripe with this, and it's kind of gotten a little bit less, but like I hate the vocoder, and that's the effect that he uses in that song a lot. I can't stand that effect for some reason. Anytime anybody uses it,
I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what it sounded
it's
like.
just like it sounds like a gargled digital mess. It sounds
Oh,
like a really shitty distorted speaker. It's called a vocoder.
okay.
Um, it's just I don't know why it just cuts right through the fucking mix of the song, and it just is in your face. I don't it's just a disgusting sounding thing to me. I hate the vocoders so much.
All right, I'll take your word
But
for it.
yeah, the lyrics were just self-evident in that one.
I
Yama's Messengers is really fucking cool.
yeah, it was Messenger. I remember I thought that one was I thought that one was like a little too heavy for my. Let me see.
You didn't the riff. I mean, it is. I mean, the whole album is heavy, but I
Oh, no,
love the
no, I
fucking
liked
riff
this
on
one.
that one.
Sorry, I was thinking of another one.
Yeah. Yeah, the riff on this one is fucking cool, especially with the double. I mean, obviously
Boom,
Gojira
boom,
does
boom.
double bass drumming
Yeah.
like throughout most of their songs, but I love when they do slower riffs with double bass in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a cool feature of their music.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're really good at like demanding attention and stuff like that because that's something I really
Yeah.
like. Because this kind of music, um, not for all of it, but like for Adoration for None, I just kind of tuned out. It wasn't really grabbing me. But like a song like Ouroboros, like just from the opening, I'm hooked. And I know that not every
Yeah.
song needs to be like that. Because we've talked about
It's the
this.
perfect opening song for an album.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because like we said before, like a song doesn't necessarily need to like you don't need to be like, oh, I'm in love with this and it like because that song's probably not gonna be like something you're gonna like keep going back to and notice new things, right? But
Yeah.
I still do have that with Gojira. Like I always notice different like cool features of their music and stuff like that, and like the nuances in the lyrics and well, like these lyrics were I think were more apparent than like the environmentalism here was a lot more apparent as opposed to the environmentalism in Flying Whales was more of just like I don't know, I think it was more of like just like a artistic backdrop.
Yeah, it wasn't as. I
Yeah,
mean, they're
where
not really. They're not ever preachy in their music, but like they when they name a track like global warming, you think that it would have some sort of retarded conscious lyrics in there, but it
no,
was it was more of a it was fantasy oriented.
well, no, I think the name of the song is stupid, but no, but I mean,
But that's
not
what I'm saying. When
right.
you hear a song with that title, it had, but then you listen to the lyrics of it, and it's just like it's profound. It's very funny.
Oh no, it's cool. Or like exactly like you think it's just gonna be some leftist stupid garbage like some, but it is really it's intelligent, you know, like it actually
Yeah,
is the thought provoking and stuff like that, and it treats the listener with respect. And I'm not saying that this album doesn't have that because I obviously you know when I first listened to this like I you're not gonna listen to the if you're not paying attention to the lyrics, you know, a lot of people
you're not gonna
couldn't.
get any of it.
No, but like even the music, like a lot of people could just be like, "Yeah, I like this," you know. But
Yeah,
but I just think this one. I'm not saying the message is like not an artistic backdrop. It is. I just think less so, and it is more like I think the music is more so influenced by the message and not so much just using it as like a you know to like using it to tell a story, which it still does it really well, like you said, with the themes of death and coming to grips with death. It's really good, and I like the idea
yeah.
of that, and I love themes like that. I just don't think it executed it as well as from Mars to Sirius, with like the apocalypse and us, you know, coming to grips with like leaving our homeland and stuff like that.
Well, that's more of a concept though. That this isn't a con. Like I said,
True.
the two songs
Yeah.
are environmental. Were just out of place for the rest of the themes on the album. But this one wasn't really more of a concept. It didn't have that sort of flow. Like I said, because that's why I think that From Mars to Sirius is their best album because everything just is seamless with the songs, the message, and then the actual story and the concept behind it together, plus the artwork and all that shit, and just the
Oh
emotion
yeah.
they conveyed. But
I loved the
yeah,
artwork on this one. I think that's a cool cover. I love that
yeah,
that chalkboardy kind of like tinged with blue.
yeah.
It's a nice
They're
color. I love their aesthetic and like their logo. They always do a good job with the album covers.
Yeah, their drummer does majority of the artwork.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah. The next one, the Silver Chord. I love this instrumental. I play
I
this all the
did, yeah.
fucking
I
time.
liked that one. That yeah, that brings out those themes that we just
Yeah.
previously mentioned.
Yeah, it's
Well,
dark,
yeah.
haunting, and beautiful at the same time. And I played it on a classical. This is really fun to finger pick on a classical if you want to try to learn it because it's very
Really?
simple. But it's just
Yeah, no, actually the more you're saying that that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, it's not classical, but like it has a very good ring to it the way it drones on a classical.
Yeah, I
But
can see that. Um
All the Tears is a one I like the song, but it's there's something about it I don't like, and I think it's the switch to the speed picking like halfway through.
I don't think I remember that one off the top of my head. Let me see.
The intro riff is
Let me
cool,
see.
and the dissonant chugging's cool, but the it kind of loses me a little bit when it speeds up because it's a totally different switch. But
Mm, I
I think that's the only part.
I liked how it was short, so I didn't think that like the change was. I don't know.
This one's just not too super memorable for me.
No, not particularly, but
Um,
I think it's still it works. You know, there's nothing no, but like there's nothing about the song that I think it's more of like the I think all the tears is good in the context of the album and like sandwiched between two better songs. You know, like on its own, I mean
yeah,
it's still a good song, but like it's just it's not memorable as much as like Ouroboros, I don't know how it's pronounced, or The Art of Dying or Esoteric Surgery I really liked as well.
Yeah.
because I love
I like
that
the
concept of like being in on something that very few people understand. You know,
yeah, the esoteric knowledge.
right? Of like and like just being part of like a like that interconnected system of it's like the yep, I'm gonna die, and like you have those, like you see in like Fight Club, he goes to those like therapy
Yeah.
groups, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Not because he needs
The thing with all
therapy,
the
but
tier
just because he needs to feel something, and he's just yeah.
we all need to feel.
Yeah.
But the theme on all the tiers I like, especially the music video. The music video is cool with the style of animation. It reminds me of like an old Flash game, like an old horror Flash game. But it basically, the theme of it is dealing with how we're alone for a lot of our life, and we have to deal with a bunch of struggle.
Mm.
And just
Yeah.
they metaphorize that by like a baby that's born into this violent storm, like this little science fiction pod thing, and just like it starts freaking out because the waves get really choppy and it's just by itself and doesn't understand what's happening, but it
Yeah.
has to overcome it
It's like
like instinctually.
yeah, it's like Moses, like with the he's like he's in the little basket in the river, you know.
Yeah, this one felt biblical. Like it was
Yeah,
like
because it's I always even
a
if
biblical challenge.
right like that was intentional or not. I always like it when I notice those things, and I can see those
Yeah.
like biblical themes in things that aren't technically biblical, necessarily. Um,
I actually kind of got that theme throughout this entire album, is that biblical concept of like devotion and struggle.
I didn't really get
Um,
the biblical connection.
just in the themes of the lyrics, because I feel like,
I
because
guess
that's
maybe
all
on
religion is
a
to me, is,
re-listen.
well, not all it is, that's a big part of religion, is preparing you to die.
Yeah, that's
It's
one way
like
to look at
training
it.
your,
Um,
I think it's a very similar theme. It's basically like the rules and constructs that you have to live your life to survive in the afterlife, but
no,
also just how
yeah,
to deal with
but
hardship
no, but
too.
that's like religion as a whole. I'm referring to like this thing specifically made me think of a story in the Bible. You know.
Yeah, no, I agree with this one
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah.
No, 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 yeah. With your take on like how this music correlates to religion, yeah, no, I agree with you because that is one of the central themes in almost every religion is like a belief in some sort of afterlife and how is it that we you know
Attain it.
well not yeah like how is it that we attain it but how is it that like we pair ourselves here on earth right so that we can you know get to heaven or like in I forget it in Buddhism is it Buddhism is nirvana, right?
Um,
Because I confuse,
Nirvana is a state of being. I don't know if it's a physical place. I know, like, obviously reincarnation is
but
the biggest
there's,
part of
but
Buddhism.
what's Shangri La? Is that like Hinduism?
That's like a mystical city that was supposed to be like the most enlightened people ever,
Yeah, but
somewhere in the
that's
mountains.
like one of those religions equivalent of heaven. I'm pretty sure.
It may be. I'm kind of rusty, but I thought it was a physical place you could, like, you didn't have to die to go there. It was just for very enlightened people. Like, so, like, if you're so enlightened, then you're able to find it.
Or if you
It's more
just,
of a quest thing.
or if you just took a bunch of LSD.
Yeah, it's like you open your third eye, you can find it. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the
like I'm
Buddhists,
sure it's
they're
not a real place.
the Buddhist concept is more like to desire is to struggle, or to desire things is the cause of all your suffering.
Right, yeah, like
So
I knew that was my because it's the most like it's the Eastern religion that's the most comparable with Christianity.
yeah,
Because like when you look at the trifold path, it's very similar to the Ten Commandments.
yeah. And again, just everybody mirroring each other and just having that. I think it's just human nature to, fear and have ambition for those types of um, unknown feelings that you have beyond.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like I'll put it this way, like the thing that connects us all as human beings is the mystery of death,
Yeah,
and coming to grips with that. Why is it that that's the way it is, like
yeah,
what does that imply for how we should live our life on earth, like it's very you know, it's very connecting, and it yeah.
yeah. And that kind of ties into the next song, is esoteric surgery.
Yeah, I just mentioned that. I love that one.
Yeah. And I think the thing about this song is the first. It's what's ironic is the first line of the song. You have the power to heal yourself. It's kind of like does all that tremolo riff, and then it goes into the chugging pattern. I remember I was playing for that my dad in the car, and he was like, "Did he say you have the power to kill yourself?" I was like, "No, he said heal."
Oh yeah, because if he said that, then it would definitely be about suicide. But
Yeah. But this one, like esoteric surgery, to me being the, getting the illness out of your head, and trying to regenerate your mind, and a lot of it is over. A lot of this, the themes of this album is overcoming disease and strife in a lot of metaphorical ways. Also, like I said, to help you prepare your ego death for when you do actually die, so you're not as freaked out.
yeah, I
Overcoming
mean,
all circumstances, releasing pain, obstruction, disintegration, floating empty space with your life force. Um,
yeah, like I said, I mean,
so it's
it's a mystery, man. Um,
yeah,
like that's why we don't know, like, cause like it's like when people say like, or like when you said to me, like you can't prove, um, like which Christian denomination is the correct one. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I can't prove it empirically, but like I can prove it like metaphysically and philosophically through the idea that this is a mystery, and it is really essentially that we're never going to know scientifically, yes, which one. But yeah, like I think you see what I'm saying, and like that's what I
yeah.
thought that like correlated to that, like the with like the concept of death and everything like that.
I think it also just proves that like there's just so much misinformation on any side of humanity that you can look at, and that's kind of why I resonate with this album a little more. Because obviously, this is I think the most cynical Gojira has ever gotten. Like their lyrics for the most part are usually positive. Like any
Yeah,
aggressive
like we
lyrics
will
are in the
see our
form of
children growing,
nature.
like they said. Like
Yeah,
there
so
is
like
hope, is
any
they're saying.
any
Yeah,
any violent air quote lyrics that they have are almost like like the force of nature or some illness or disease or some
carnage. Yeah.
like I said, yeah, something for you to overcome. But this one is like I said, it's the lyrics are darker, but not as dark as most metal bands get.
No, yeah,
Nothing like obscene.
I was surprised when you said that this was their darkest, heaviest stuff. I thought that this was like almost getting there, but then there was gonna be like the point where I was like, nah, no, I can't listen to
No, they've never gotten obscene or just edgy. Like they're not an edgy band. They're like I said, a lot of their stuff is positive,
this.
but like
Like a
this is
show
I would say
off.
cynical is a better word than dark because obviously the positivity of this is trying to like
Hey,
it's a
dark is not a
comforting
bad
feeling.
thing. Like you said, cynical, that
Yeah.
is a bad thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so dark and
Yeah. No,
cynical
it does.
in those two ways, but even like with all the undertones, like the whole point of the whole message of all these songs in this album is positive. Like it's the overcoming of all the shit. So it's not just like life sucks and there's nothing.
Oh, right,
That's
yeah.
a lot of they're not nihilistic like most metal bands are.
No, and that's why they stand out to me as opposed to
Yeah.
other death metal bands.
Yeah, there's always a purpose for everything they do, and I think that's kind of their point in their message that everything is supposed to be done with purpose.
Yeah, and I
Um,
really like how they really do tell like these concrete stories almost. Like not necessarily stories in the sense that we think like where there's characters and stuff like that, but there's well, I mean like the characters essentially like you listening to it, right? And they're bringing you on this journey with them, which I think is pretty cool. Like
yeah,
it's almost like Dante going with Virgil into hell.
I think that's why I like these guys so much because I've that that theme of adventure and
Yeah,
fantasy
yeah,
and journeys have always
they're
been
very like it all. Yeah, it does really feel like you're going on an adventure
it's
with them.
adventurous.
Exactly, like it is adventurous, which I really like. Same thing with
Yeah.
Mastodon. I really love
Yes.
like their. I mean, okay, I think their concepts are. I think they're kind of cooler
It's
than
because they're more
Gojira.
ridiculous. They're more cheeky.
Yes, but those
It's
fascinate me
more
more.
monsters
And they're
and side.
yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
going up to a mountain to hunt demons and like just go and like
Yeah.
that's cool.
Get a crystal skull.
Yeah, right, or like hunt some
Yeah.
three-headed moose, like minotaur man or something. Like I'm
Yeah.
in this. Yeah, like um, obviously like I think Gojira is better at like just telling like thematic stories, but Mastodon sells me
Who do you think
more
makes
on the
a
concepts and stuff like that.
Who do you think makes better riffs?
Oh, I guess I might give yeah, Gojira. Gojira.
Okay.
They're more
I think
melodic and
Gojira.
it resonates with me more. Even
I think
though
Mastodon's riffs are definitely 10 times harder to play than Gojira's
true,
riffs are.
but like okay, Mastodon has some like great riffs though.
Yeah,
Like
I like them a lot.
the Czar. That song is mwah,
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. That the concept of that album too is just fucking ridiculous, but I love it so much.
I don't even remember what you said it was, but I like didn't even I forgot. I was like, this music is just great.
Yeah,
Like what?
like the actual lyrics are kind of they're more subversive, I guess, but I don't know. I just the themes are just always funny to me.
I love the melody and like the note choices of the Czar. I like how
Yeah,
like the it's your own fault. You know, it's like what is he talking about? Well, I don't know because I don't even remember. But can you fill me in on what it's about again? I don't really remember. It's like about like
man, it's
his
been
sister going on like a psychedelic trip or something. What?
no, it's like Rasputin has some sort of drug trip, and the whole
Rasputin.
point of having an astral projection is that your soul is tethered to Earth via a cord, and then his cord got severed, so he got he got stranded in time and space. Then he got reincarnated into the Tsar.
Oh yeah. Okay, nice.
So it's a bunch of shit like that.
Yeah. When you said
Um,
Rasputin, I was like, ah. I was like, okay, that's pretty out there.
yeah. But
um,
anyway, the next song, Vacuity. This is the slower, kind of more anthem, not anthemy, but as anthemy as Gojira will get.
yeah.
Just like a heavy, hard hitting, slow pulsing song.
Yeah.
And again, the lyrics are more cynical in this one, just how everyday life is just destroying everybody's creativity and dreams, and we're being led by false leaders, and they're just fucking ruining everything. So it's just trying to focus on your own growth so you don't lose your mind, kind of shit.
Fools are kings, tearing apart the soul.
Yeah.
The race for complication. That's a very good thing. 'Cause everything is so
Communicate
complicated.
reaction.
Yeah.
Lack of heart of men. I grow distant from the core. So it's just how everyone's just a fucking reactionary mess, and nobody has anything of substance, and they're just led by all this bullshit and the food and the water and the
Right.
TV and the music and all
Right,
that.
because
So
it's
I mean, it's
it's
a very
like
common theme, but
it's like we're gonna apologize for slavery, which we literally apologize for slavery by abolishing it, and it's like no one in this country living today has owned a slave, and no one living in this country has been a slave. So like, what are you doing? Are you just trying to make
we're all
yourself
mental slaves now.
right? Exactly. It's like you're just trying to look better than me.
I think yeah, with like I said, this is probably the most cynical song on the album, I would say.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah,
oh,
it
actually,
is.
Adoration for None. The lyrics on that one are pretty cynical too.
This one I kind of felt it more.
But this song, I like this one. It's not a song I play often, but it's just a good little I don't know, just a good little song. It's one of those ones where I like when bands do a different style a little bit. Except for the end part, they go back to their normal riffage at the end of the song, but just the
Yeah, like they didn't fully
the
go through
normal.
with the.
Yeah. The la or the second to last one, Wolf Down the Earth. I like this one a lot. I play that riff all the time too. I love the intro riff.
Well,
And then the end too, where they're. I like when Gojira always does this really cool thing where they palm mute their melodies, or chug the melodies, which is really like not. I mean, I guess bands technically do it, but they more focus on the palm muting as just like a heavy sounding part of the riff. Like the melody is more of the lead or the chords kind of thing, but Gojira really focuses on chugging the melody, which is really cool.
oh, okay.
But again,
I
same kind
remember
of
Wolf Down the Earth very much.
play the intro riff
Let me
in
see.
your.
Oh yeah, that was cool. When I turned it on, like before I heard like the note change after like the second chord, I was like, wait, is this is this what was it? Is this from the sky? Like it sounded like the same, like the first two chords. It's like
It's in
da.
the same tuning, so the
Yeah,
first two
exactly. Yeah,
notes are the
it's
same
like
notes. Yeah,
da da. Nah. Yeah, so because I was expecting to go
yeah,
da da da, and then it went up instead, which caught me off guard.
yeah. Yeah, they only play in two tunings, so when you tremolo pick those notes, you're out.
Yeah,
But yeah, the fucking pinch harmonic that like breaks into the riff and then just fucking hell breaks loose. Oh, I love that fucking intro. And then
it's
the
cool.
the
Yeah.
last part, like I said, where they chug the melody, I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, yeah. I was curious to see how you were gonna like this one because, like I said, the besides their first album, this is like more death metal than they usually go on their
Yeah,
newer stuff.
I mean, they never cease to impress me with their creativity and their like the way in which they tell like the message they want to tell because I think they always do it in a nuanced way and it's always interesting and like it always um feels adventurous, you know? Like I love listening to music like this where I feel like they're just taking me somewhere that I've never been before. It's a very, you know, because we always everyone knows that feeling of going somewhere you never like you've never been before and it's like you come back to where you came from and it's just you
Yeah.
like where you came from is better, you know, and like you see things in a different way, you know, like it's the classic, you know, Dead Poet Society. You need to see the world from another perspective, so stand up on your desk and see this classroom now, you know, and then come back down and see how you see it after having seen both, you know. Yeah.
I think that's honestly the charm of them, and just that what you said, just correlating into the fact that they have a lot of mainstream appeal for people that don't particularly like this style of metal. Like a lot of people, well, they can listen to Tour, they can listen to Rage Against the Machine, like they'll listen to hard rock esque bands, but like this kind of style will be like too much for them. But for some reason, these guys always cross over into people that like. I always read the comments on a lot of their videos, and it's always people like, I'm normally not a fan of this genre or metal at all, but for some reason, I really like this.
I mean, hey, I like him.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering. I was putting off doing this album because like if this was the first album that you listened to from them, I don't know if it would have like opened you up to listen to more of it.
Like of their stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just think we should stick to them from now, just for the podcast. I think. Um,
What do you mean?
like we should stick. Like, I'll listen to them, but I just think we should do it on the podcast. You see what I'm saying?
No, no, I'm talking about
Hmm.
like if you would like if we weren't doing this, like if you were just listening to this album first and then like not wanting to check out the rest of their albums because you listened to Magma
Okay. I'm
first,
sorry, I
right?
misunderstood. Yes, I did listen to
Yeah,
Magma first. And
which is their softest album.
yeah, and it's like it's my opinion of Magma is actually like it's dropped, not significantly, but it's dropped because I think like
It's not one of my favorites. It just isn't.
because I think the first half of the album is like pretty solid, but then I think the other half is eh.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm really tempted. I kind of want to show you their first album just to see what you think of it because it is a complete 180.
I'll give it a shot. Is that Terra Incognita?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like their most death metal album, but
Yeah.
the way that they do it is very strange. Like his vocals that he uses are very like a lot of them are creepy. He uses a really cool creepy effects on his vocals on this one.
Hmm.
It's visceral, I would say. A lot of
Visceral.
like snarling and like shrieking. It's
You know, I love.
not very melodic.
That's another adjective that I should add to like things that I like. You know, I've said atmospheric, moody, and all that kind of stuff. You can add visceral to that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I love like Jeremy Irons' voicing of Scar in The Lion King. He's very visceral and how he just gets into the performance and he snarls into the mic like he's like an actual
Yeah.
lion. He gave it his all for that. He's so cool.
Yeah, it has that same kind of feel. But because you've listened to all of them except for Terra Incognita and The Link. There's only two albums left.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I need to
Might as well
give.
just finish it up.
I haven't listened to Magma in like so long. I might give, but we don't need to do that for the podcast. Um,
Yeah. Out of
Fortitude.
the ones you've listened to so far, what's the ranking?
Hold on. Fortitude. I barely remember. Probably because it wasn't that good, honestly.
I don't know.
Probably just
Again,
it
I
was
just thought
probably
it
just
was.
mid, like, right?
I like some of the songs on them, and there's a lot of riffs in the songs I like. But as like an album, I didn't think it was that good of an album. I just thought it was like the B sides of Magma to me, except for Amazonia and Another World. I love those fucking songs.
Yeah, I
Those
think
are some of my favorite.
yeah, those I thought were I remember I forgot why, but I remember liking them.
Yeah, Another World is one of my favorites.
Mm. So the
Just a
ranking,
beautiful song.
ooh.
Yeah, what would you rank them of the ones you've listed so far?
So out of the four, right? Magma, L'Enfant Sauvage, Wave All Flesh, Mars Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you want to count Fortitude, Fortitude is probably last. That's not really a fair
Yeah.
assessment, but that's just from what I remember of it. Magma is number five. Number okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So Fortitude six. Wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's five. Sorry, I can't count. Um, Fortitude is number five. Magma is number four. Way of All Flesh would be number three. Ooh, this is so hard. But I think I'm really gonna have to go L'Enfant Sauvage 2 from Mars Series 1. Like from Mars Series, you convinced me. You convinced me,
Yeah.
Jason.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Have I convinced you on anything?
um, for what? Like just
Like
of the stuff you recommend, like me listening to it. I listen to a lot of it. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I listen to Tim Maya the most.
yeah, I was just gonna say I was like Tim Meyer. I remember you said you loved that. Um
Yeah, that's probably my favorite of all the ones you've recommended.
wait, hold on. Can we get that in a second one? Because I said I want to do like the ranking of our of the stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I L'Enfant Sauvage. Ooh. Um it's like it's so good and it's so epic. Like I think in just like in terms of like the epicness and the visceralness,
yeah.
um,
I
it
think it's their most beautiful sounding album. It's like they have the prettiest melodies on that album.
really you didn't think From Mars to Sirius was
Well, I think it's a different way. I think Mars is Serious. Like it was more subtle. Like it was
oh
more of an
yeah I
actual
guess
like
in like because like it's not in all the track like Flying Whales like that use of like the whales singing with that like mellow like dun, dun, like that grunge kind of
yeah.
sound that was cool and it was really
I think the
pretty.
best way that I can describe it, why I think From Mars to Sirius is a beautiful sounding album, is because not. I mean, obviously, like they had some pretty sounding stuff in the music, but just like the way that they arrange the songs, the way that the tone of the tone of the instruments, and just like the emotion that it made you feel. That's where I got that surreal beauty. But with L'Enfant Sauvage, the actual physical sound, the melodies were like objectively prettier in the fucking album.
Yeah,
I
there's
think is the best way to describe it.
thinking about it now, like there's some songs that like off the top of my head I don't remember how they went. But
On from L'Enfant Sauvage.
yeah, so I do need to give it one more listen, but I'm fairly confident that it's better than
Like songs like
yeah.
The Axe, like that's a very pretty song.
Yes. That
It
is
blows
right.
my mind because it's like it's
Let me
speed
see.
picking, it's screaming, it's metal, but like it's just such a pretty sounding song.
Yeah,
I
or
can't explain. That's what I like. I love like
I
the best way to
love
describe is just
the
heavy melody.
right or like I love the title track. I love him
Yeah,
just belting out those lyrics and just
it's very
um
heartfelt. It's a
it
heartfelt
is like
album.
it feels almost like I think L'Enfant Sauvage is like it's their saddest one. I don't, you know.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful, sad, melancholy, Frenchness.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I forget that they're French, so they're gonna have all that bullshit in there. Well, no, I'm just kidding. I
Yeah.
because I like that about the French.
So, would you record your album in black and white?
Yeah, bro. Did you record it in black and white? I think Mouth of Kala is like the only real one that's like has that like dark, uh, you know, like heaviness to it, but at the same time, like just it has that melody and just like that like how do you say like it's just got that like you feel like there's just something controlling something, you know, because it's talking about like just worshiping like the god of destruction and stuff, you know.
Well, I think that one riff, because like when it goes like dun, 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 that after that part where it goes like that little melody at the end, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, like that part.
yeah.
So like that's kind of like the embodiment of like those types of melodies that they do. Um, sorry, there's a fucking kid screaming at my house. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oh, great. I hate kids.
Yeah, fucking spawnlings. Anyway,
Mhm.
but another song that's like that too is Planned Obsolescence, and that part where like they do like this broken chord kind of drone where they pick is really pretty sounding too. So like they just add like really cool little fluttery melodies.
Oh yeah, yeah. That background kind of vortex kind of sound. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So like that one, that's one of my. Um, I'm pulling up that album because there's just so much fucking music that's in my head.
Right. It's kind of hard to keep track of a lot of it, but
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
Explosia was more of a heavy song, but the end of that one had like it was a droning good melody. The Axe and Liquid Fire is another like anthemy heartfelt song.
yeah. So the
Yeah,
gift
Plain
of guilt
Obsolescence.
as well.
I love The Gift of Guilt.
That's a good one.
That one makes me think of the ocean for some reason. I don't know why.
I can see it.
Um, but yeah, Born in Winter. That was another really sad, pretty song.
I don't think I remember that off the top of my head. Because like this.
That's the slower one that really like down little down little down little down little down little down little.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one is so good.
Yeah, the tapping and that's what I again like going like with their tapping riffs like that whole thing is tapped pretty much except when they're doing the speed chugging for the heavy parts. Like even when it goes into the distortion, it's the same thing just tapped as it was in the clean part.
Nice.
So like that's what I'm saying. They make tapping parts very interesting and actually like be a good melody and rhythm in the song as opposed to just using it as an effect.
Wow.
Especially
Maybe
the bass drone. God, this kid is screaming his fucking ass off.
that's great. I heard him a little bit.
God,
Oh yeah, I definitely heard him that time.
fucking foreigners not letting their kids go to bed until like midnight
Right.
watching
I
soccer or whatever the fuck.
I maybe if I listen to L'Enfant Sauvage from beginning to end, which I will want to do soon, maybe it might dethrone From Mars to Sirius because maybe like From Mars to Sirius is just more fresh in my head, I guess. But
I go back and forth. I feel
it's
like
hard, yeah. Like it's.
yeah.
But is that like
When I'm
the?
sadder, L'Enfant Sauvage is a better album for me. But when I'm in more of like a creative mood and I'm like want to experience that adventure, then
Or if you're just
From
pumped, I
Mars.
guess. Like
Yeah,
yeah, because besides like Mouth of Kala, L'Enfant Sauvage isn't really like a pump song. Sorry, album. Like it's just yeah,
yeah,
it's more of like a like I didn't have the best time at work and stuff like that. I was not saying you
yeah.
have to
It's a
listen to it
vibe.
in that context, but um yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously the title track, even though it's like that, is more of a pumped up kind of song.
Yeah.
But Gift of Guilt's kind of like that too.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, like he's like, and I hate when people say this because you can go to any fucking artist and you go in their comments and everyone's always like, oh, you can really hear the emotion in his voice or whatever. Like everybody says that about every fucking vocalist ever when you really can't. But there's very, very few people you can legitimately hear the emotion that comes through their voice. Like that's not it annoys me that that's a trope that people just throw around so easily because they can relate to the song. Very few vocalists can just have that come across.
It's just like how much you care or not, really.
Yeah.
Like you can tell when a singer just doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah, or they're doing it for money, or
Yeah.
if they like put they're all into it, but it's just one dimensional. Like it sounds good, but it just doesn't
Right, or
have any more depth to it.
yeah, like or they're just copying something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that's interesting about him is that his clean singing is interesting. It's very monotone, but it still conveys a pretty distinctive emotion.
This is Duplanche, right? He's the singer.
Yeah, he's the lead guitar player and the singer, which is crazy because he plays all this shit while he fucking sings.
That is
Screams.
insane. I didn't even realize that.
I don't know if you've ever seen live videos of them, but they are fucking well, not nowadays because his voice is His That's why they have to make albums like Magma and Fortitude, because his screaming voice is getting fucked because he pitch screams the way that he does it. It's
Oh yeah,
just
I
taking a
bet
toll on his
that's just
throat.
not sustainable.
So I
Um,
guarantee you he's probably taking vocal lessons, and they're gonna switch to more of a clean singing style in the future because the dude he's in his 40s.
that,
So like I can't imagine like mid 50s he's gonna be screaming too much the way that
no,
he does.
no, but I think they might find a way to make something creative.
They will. And like I said, I like his clean vocals. I think they can, like, even if they make like a psychedelic album that's not even metal at all, like all the elitists will bitch, but I still will enjoy it. Like I feel like
The
they
elitists.
either need to go back to doing metal or just switch styles, because I don't like this mixture that they did with Magma and Fortitude. I think they just need to pick one.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like if they went full melodic, I'd rather that.
Then like the quasi kind of
Yeah, I'd rather like them not add chugging in the middle of a song that's pretty. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather them just make a melodic song.
yeah. Apparently they made a single. I haven't listened to that yet. Is it good?
Yeah, they did it for NHL. It sounded like something off of Fortitude. It was okay.
This is okay.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
riff was kind of cool, but I don't know. He did like a little solo at the end of it, but
Okay.
it was nothing special.
When I see the album descriptions, like I forget that my phone's in Spanish, so it'll be talking about the way of all flesh, but in Spanish.
Werewolf flesh, man.
The way of all of the carne, man. Yeah.
Wow, it reminds me. I was watching this documentary on Netflix. It's about street food, and it follows this dude in Los Angeles, and like the only thing he does is make carnitas, and it talks about how he's helping out his dad and all the troubles they went to, his sister dying, and he was like, "This is the way of my life, man. Carnitas."
That
It's
is
just
so
fucking funny. Like
great.
his whole entire passion was carnitas. That's all he does.
I could just hear
morning
it.
to night.
I can just hear it in his voice.
Carnitas.
That's just like something you like. It's just like
It's just so ridiculous. They made it so dramatic because like it's talking about like, oh, it's just a documentary of all these cool foods and all different cultures. And then
it's
this
just
interview is like, what's the meaning of life? Carnitas.
carnitas, man.
Like, what
You
the
can't
fuck?
make this shit up. That is hilarious.
He's just like, oh, like he was the only one. Like all the other ones were talking about like the culture and the history behind
And
it,
he's
and their
just
business, and like what the
carnitas.
food is. And he was like going into his life story, and it's depressing as fuck. And he's like, carnitas saved his life or whatever the fuck.
Right.
It was really. I'm sure they're good as fuck. I'm sure they're because that's all he does.
Carnitas is I love them on tacos.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's such a specific way to make it. If you fuck up, it's not going to taste anything like it.
Yeah. Yesterday we had the Christmas party at work. My boss made a bunch of it. It was great.
Carnitas.
Like he cooked it. Yeah, right. He like marinated it overnight, I think. Like he did some cool thing, and then it came out great.
Man, I haven't had some in a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing about living here is all these great local places. But
Yeah. Oh, I was the DJ at the Christmas party.
what did you play?
I just played like Hispanic music. It
So ridiculous.
was great.
All these fucking old boomer white people.
No, most of them are Hispanics because it's like,
Oh, are they really?
oh yeah, because the office is only like 6, 7 people, and then the
Oh,
the field workers it's like 30 plus people. So
I see.
no, like
Still is a funny
the
thing.
boss doesn't really care. He's like, as long as the field workers are happy, like you can put on like whatever like it is, as long as it's
Like, oh,
not
they'll be happy.
right. He's like, as long as it's not like super offensive or annoying, like whatever. Like he didn't even
Yeah,
he didn't even ask me anything like, when I put it on.
it could have been. You'd never know.
Yeah, but,
It's like I'm training to when I open my nightclub.
yeah. I didn't say that. Right, and then like I asked
Man.
people like I was like, hey, so like a picture of the club like that, and it's like most of the people were like, oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But then I had this one guy who was like, dude, if you pick the music, we're fucked.
Why?
I don't know. He might have just been messing with me. I don't know.
Yeah, I just for some reason I can't see you as a club owner. I don't know why.
I struggle to see myself still as a club owner, but I'm just like, I need this to be a thing. Like it has to be.
I mean, I as ridiculously difficult as it is to run and operate your own business, especially from scratch, like I can't see a reason why people wouldn't come because there's just I mean there's a couple of really shitty ones that are like drug related. I guess they're more pop ups. There's
Yeah.
not that many. There's a couple in Gainesville, but most of the time people go to DC or Arlington for that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. I'm like, you don't need to come here. You can just stay in Manassas, Virginia. Like, can you just?
You really got to make it nice though because
Oh
like
yeah, no, exactly. I want to invest like all my money in this.
God, I don't even know like because like most of them are like just super small little buildings, so I don't even know where the fuck you would put it
It'd be nice
unless you want to do
if I could put
like
it
those
on.
microbreweries.
No, I mean, it'd be nice if I could put
Just put
it.
them in an industrial park.
You know that place on Mathis Avenue?
I might. I don't know.
It's like right by my house. I'd really like to have it there.
I think
But I called the number to see what the rent prices were, and of course they don't answer me. But
the problem is credit though, so it's like I don't like. Do you have any history of credit? Or
no,
you just or is your
no,
dad gonna do it?
no. But even so, like yeah. Like my dad did tell me he's like, yeah, if you have the money, like, and if they don't play, like, you can just put it under my thing or whatever, because he's gonna be a
There
share,
you
like
go.
he's gonna be a shareholder anyways. So
Your dad's gonna be a shareholder,
yeah, why not?
then you're both gonna lose money.
We're both gonna lose.
My dad's investing in my nightclub. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a
I mean, at
percentage,
least your
but
parents support you, dude. That's more than most people can say.
I think it's a good idea, which I was surprised. But I mean, I'm either way, I'm still glad that they think that.
I think there is a gap in the market for it here.
Definitely,
However,
definitely.
I think with the clientele here, it's very difficult for it to not be a problem. That's just.
Yeah, because everything here is stupid. But I think I
That
no, but I mean, we can work through anything. So
is true. I
I mean,
mean, half of it's knowing your audience, and half of it's trying to fill that gap. So
yeah.
it's honestly a crapshoot, man.
I mean, man, like I talked to the people at the other club to see what like the deal would be, and like I'm like, if they did it, like I can do it.
We should like dedicate a room to do like the podcast in, or just like the
Yeah,
shit talking
yeah,
room.
yeah. It's gonna be
So
like
if anybody, anytime somebody has a problem, instead of kicking them out for fighting, you bring them into the fucking podcast. They just argue with each other, and then you can sell it online or just have like a YouTube channel for it.
yeah, it's like mafia style, you know? Like yeah, it's
Yeah, just
exactly
have them fucking
yeah,
duke it out on a podcast,
yeah, like YouTube.
screaming.
Yeah, it's like the Will's Club like I like break it up room best moments or something like that. Oh, that's such a good idea. Yeah.
Yo, dog, when I put on these headphones, it's over for you.
Hey man, I want you
Put me on the
to
mic.
you need to play the Linkin Park, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is just bitches screaming at each other like who didn't get them pregnant. Fucking
Yeah.
you'll interview the first person that gets roofied at your nightclub.
Yep.
Fucking God, I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yep, I can't wait either, but I have to wait, so it's gonna be a little while. But whatever. I don't know.
Whew.
So
Man,
I
what
think
else?
it's time to start the ranking of the albums. Now,
What's albums
are you gonna include like the stuff everything we've done?
that you've recommended to me?
Yeah, like we go vice versa.
Man, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so I think I put Tim Maya at the top.
Well, do you want me to read the?
Um,
Do you want me to read the?
yeah, read through them because I'll just have to do them from yeah. Read through them.
Yeah, because like you don't want to include the stuff that you recommended to me, right? Because that list is not really like
No,
necessarily.
I'm not doing. Yeah,
Right,
this
okay.
is too much.
Yeah, right.
My top 30.
Okay, let's see. The first one I did was Guitarra de las Pampas by what's his name? I don't remember what his name was. Um, Roberto Lara. Yeah, there we go.
I did like that one. I think that one was my third favorite thing you recommended.
Hmm.
The other solo artist I think I liked a little bit better.
Okay,
The
well,
other Spanish guitar guy.
um, so yeah, so we got Guitar of the Pampas from Argentina by Roberto Lara.
Yeah.
Um, Parachutes by Coldplay. I don't know if you're
I think that's my second favorite, which is really
really.
surprising to hear you
That's
say.
your
Yeah, it's
second
surprising. I
favorite.
know.
Okay,
I know.
Parachutes, man.
It's a good album. I
You
don't know what to
so
say.
you I convinced you.
Yeah, I hate Coldplay, but it's a great album.
I mean, I kind of do too, but like,
It's just that simple. It just is.
yeah. All right, so we got that one. Gypsy Kings, best
Oh, I forgot about Gypsy King. Okay,
best
I'm
of
throwing that
album.
number two. I'm throwing that number two and Coldplay three, and then Roberto Lara four, and then I think Tim Maya is still my favorite.
Okay, yeah. Then we got Tim Maya. That's the
But that
next
doesn't
one.
really count because I've already listened to Gypsy Kings.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that doesn't count in that sense. I mean, if you want to count it, count it. I, I,
I'll count it. Yeah,
I
it's
would
my
count it just
second
because it
favorite.
was something I recommended.
Yeah,
Um, oh, Libre by Mark Anthony.
that probably was at the lower
Yeah,
part. I
right.
think that was my least favorite
I
one.
didn't think that you rated that particularly high.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not that it sounded bad. It was just I don't remember why I didn't like it.
right. Um, Our Sedur. No, 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 not that one. Hecho en Cuba, the Buena Vista Social Club album,
I did like that.
the Cuban music.
Think
Yeah.
I would place that at a little bit behind Roberto Lara.
Okay. And then the next one is Our Sedur, the album of the Ashkenazi Shabbos music.
I actually like that one.
Yeah, because that was such a strange mix of like every different song was a different genre.
Yeah, I was not expecting to like it, but I did. I think I would put that in. Ooh, I'll have that tie with Roberto Lara. I think I'll have those tie.
All right, and then
I
the
like those equally the same.
okay. Wow, and the next three things I recommended were movies.
Yeah.
So wait, so can you run down the lists like from worst to best?
From worst, I think is Mark Anthony. Um,
Okay.
the next one up is the Encho and Cuba one,
Really,
and then the
that's lower than
I'm sorry, that's so the Roberto Lara and the Jewish one is next tied, and then the Encho and Cuba one is next, and then after that is Coldplay, then Gypsy Kings, and Tim Maya.
okay. So you do like Gypsy Kings better than Coldplay,
Yeah, I do.
man. Tim
I
Maya,
would
like,
listen to them more.
well, okay. So like, where does the line draw of like stuff that you're still listening to? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Um,
wait, where does the line? Like, where did you draw the line for like? Yeah, I haven't really checked back on this.
I haven't listened to Roberto Lara or the Cuban one or
Mm.
the Mark Anthony one or the Jewish one. I actually haven't been listening to Gypsy Kings at all
Wow.
since I listened to it. I think Coldplay and Tim Maya have been the only two that I've been revisiting. But that's because I've been just on a different musical kick these last couple months.
Yeah. Well, and also that is just it's genuinely good music.
Yeah.
But also like that, those songs are obviously like that music's less ethnic.
Yeah. I think because like the points that I've made repeatedly through those on those podcasts was the fact that like I can't just sit and listen to that. I need to like go out and do something like dance or be with people. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's
Same.
probably why.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to listen to Coldplay when when I'm out with people or at a party or driving. I'd rather I'd rather listen to the
Yeah.
other
Like
stuff.
you want to sit down and pay attention. That's
Yeah,
fair.
exactly.
I still think the Guitar of the Pampas, the Roberto Lara, that is very good, like relaxing music, and to, like
Yeah.
that, like late at night, just reading something. I never like the actual like guitar like picking is really good in that, and I love the way he plays it. Also
Yeah,
the
it's played very well.
also I love the album cover of just like that shot of the Argentine guy holding the guitar on the llama. I love the angle he's like looking at
Yeah.
the camera, so to speak. I love it,
Yeah,
like
it's a
his
good angle.
yeah, and like I love his hat and like how it shadows his eyes. It looks really cool.
Yeah, and I remember because that one was all instrumental, so I really had to focus on like different parts, the parts that I liked and the parts that I didn't like. I think that was the overall thing was like overall as songs, I thought they were kind of all over the place, but I liked the specific melodies that were in a lot of the songs too.
Yeah,
I think that's where I was at.
yeah, I kind of
Um,
shared the same opinion.
because like just like with Scale of the Summit, instrumental music is hard because you have to do a bunch of different stuff to make it interesting. You can't just do a standard, yeah, it's more melody based and free flowing as opposed to like intro, verse, chorus, breakdown, bridge, and outro, whatever the fuck, right? So you kind of
Yeah,
have to, but and when you do that, it just makes it more difficult and you take more risks, I think.
yeah, oh yeah.
Unless it's not lo-fi ambient where it's the same shit over and over again, but that's a different style.
Yeah. Um, what what are you like most and least looking forward to going back and listening to out of the stuff that it's like you just kind of listened to it once and didn't do it anymore?
Um, I think the Mark Anthony one's probably the least. Like I don't know. Like I can't see a scenario unless it was like like a girl I was talking to was like really into Mark Anthony. So you were like I like this part of it. Like you know what I mean. I had to do all that bullshit.
That was probably the
I
worst thing
couldn't.
I recommended. I mean, I still like the album, but even so, even as like an introduction to salsa music, I think I could have done better.
He wasn't salsa though. It was just straight up pop.
No, that's salsa.
Was it? I thought.
It's poppier, less like rhythmic and ethnic, but no, it's not full on pop.
I might be remember. I might need to listen to it again. I just remember.
No, his actual full
It's
on
been for
pop
fucking
music
ever.
is terrible.
His more American
Yeah,
stuff.
and like he sings in English, it's really bad. Yeah. No, but his actual Spanish stuff is superior. But I think even so, like
Okay.
the choice of like artists, like I think like personally he's kind of overrated.
Right.
And even so, like it's okay, 6 months it's been. Wow. Yeah, like in that time, like I've listened to so much more music. I've gone down the Spanish language music rabbit hole. So like I just think I could have got something better if we were at a different point in time. And I mean obviously this isn't the last podcast. We could still do it.
I was
Like
about to say it's not the end all be all
yeah,
though.
I know, I know. But yeah. Um, nice. So should I give my take?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So let me look at your um, let me look at your things real quick. Okay, Crack the Sky, Warp Rider by the Sword,
Oh yeah, I forgot I recommend that one. I love that album.
Deftones, Chevelle, Slipknot, um, Advitic Sound. Wait, what is that one?
Oh, that's Ohm.
Yeah, Adviatic Songs. Sorry, yeah. Um, yeah, Ohm. Yeah. Um, Blood Mountain and The Migration. Okay. Should I go? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go worst to best. Worst was definitely The Migration. Um, hmm, that's the thing. Like, I'm the same with you. Where like I had like a couple albums where like I just haven't listened to them in so long.
Yeah.
Um, let me see. Like the sword? Actually, no, I think I definitely remembered liking the sword better than um Deftones. Even though I think Deftones, I that's actually the one I'm curious to go back to out of the ones that I haven't really paid much attention to after we talked about them. Like
And
Chevelle.
that's when I did a compilation of. I didn't do one album, right?
Yeah, right. You did a compilation. Same with Chevelle.
Okay,
With
okay. Yeah.
Chevelle, actually no, I liked Chevelle better than the sword. So I guess I'd put.
Did you really?
I think I did, going off of how I remembered it.
I remember you thought like you liked a couple of the tracks, and then like you didn't like the last half.
I
But
don't.
I think for the sword, you liked the whole album. I think.
I did, but like I nothing really on the sword album really sticks out to me anymore. Whereas like when I hear when I see the Chevelle like that it's on the list, I think like the I'm on the way to Mars. Like I remember their stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess I give them points for that. Um, so I guess probably but then Deftones, I remembered I liked the production and the atmosphere. So I guess I'll put it in um okay, the migration, then hmm, then Deftones, just because I the memory is just fading on me. Then Warp Rider, then Chevelle. Uh, what else do you have? Okay, Slipknot. I forgot to mention that one. Then after that, okay. So then after, fuck, I forgot the order. Damn it. All right. So it's gonna be shit. Okay, it's the Migration, Deftones, Warp Rider, Chevelle, Adviatic Songs. Actually, no, I put Chevelle on top of Adviatic Songs. Then after Chevelle, I put Opiate. I forgot about that one. I think I'll put that one there in the next spot. Then, because now we're getting to like the good stuff. Mm, this is hard. Because now we're at the top three, which is Crack the Sky, Blood Mountain, and From Mars is Sirius. Oh wait, did I mention Slipknot yet?
You did.
But did I say where I put them?
I don't think so.
All right, I'll put them at number four then.
Really?
Um, yeah, yeah, they're
I don't remember you liking that one too much.
no, I liked it. Um, because I'm trying to think. Well, then what was the last? What was number five then? What's the one I put above, like above it?
This is getting too confusing.
Fuck, I wish I had them all written out because I'm just looking at the thumbnails.
I think it's a lot of empty space, brother.
Shit. Well, no. Well, okay. At the end of the day, I really liked the Slipknot.
I think it's the because I picked a couple of the earlier songs and that's more of the raw shit. So I think the
I
earlier
actually
ones
like
you
that
weren't.
stuff. I thought it was interesting how they made like some of the songs like kind of had like rap elements and it worked. It surprised
Yeah,
me. It was an interesting experience because I had this kind of perception of who Slipknot was, and it was kind of true, but not really at the same time. It was an interesting experience.
they
Um,
get lumped into that like all metal is noise category for some
no,
reason.
and I would definitely not put them in that category.
Yeah, they
Um,
definitely have melody and fucking structure.
definitely, and especially creativity too. I
Yeah,
always give points for that. But doing these top three is insanely hard. All right, I'm gonna have to say Blood Mountain, then Crack the Sky, then From Mars to Sirius. From Mars to Sirius is the king. It takes
yeah.
it takes the crown. Nothing tops that. That is the best thing you've recommended to me. And I wish I could say the same thing. Well, actually, I mean, like the like Blood Mountain and Crack the Sky are just as awesome and good. They're just slightly worse than Crack the Sky. But it's like they're all like I think they're all tens.
I go back and forth because Crack the Sky was the album that got me into this genre. Like even before Tool, I listened to Mastodon before
Oh
I
yeah, I
listened to
forgot
Tool.
you mentioned that.
So it's
But yeah,
like
it's
for
a
me,
10.
it's like the album. But From Mars to Sirius was like the first album that like sparked my creativity to do um, a bunch of like every time I feel like I'm getting like I'm trapping myself in a box, I think back to that album and it inspires me to
Mm-hmm.
try something
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah, but those two albums, it's really what solidifies it for me.
Okay.
But yeah, Crack the Sky I listened to when I was very young, so it shaped a lot of the stuff that I like,
Nice.
especially Divinations. That's such a fucking. I'm still like such a bitch of a song to play.
I bet. But yeah, all three of
I need to
those
play banjo.
play it
I feel
on
like I need to learn banjo so I can play Mastodon songs better.
play Mastodon on the banjo. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I said, all those top three albums are all tens. Um, let me see. Yeah, Warp Rider. Was definitely more just like hard rock, and that doesn't resonate with me more as much as like the prog metal stuff you recommended.
Yeah.
I really did like the sci-fi kind of as like um
The
motif.
riffs on that album are really fucking good. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they were kind of cool. And like I said on the podcast, I really like that Saturday morning kind of jam
Yeah, like a
thing.
fast Black Sabbath.
Yeah, like it felt like we're just playing in the garage, in the suburbs. Like
Yeah,
it definitely evoked that kind of thing.
they're definitely like of all the bands that like I listen to. They're like a band. You know what I mean? Like they're like a guy, like
Yeah,
the
just
best guys at your from your hometown.
exactly. Yes, I love.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they don't feel
they're
like
just fun.
they're too professional, and they don't feel like they're just too generic. Like they're
Yeah,
yeah, like they're like the best of like. Does this count as like indie rock or not really? I don't know. I
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
because I don't know how mainstream the Sword is.
They're one of those bands that had a cult following. They
Okay.
never got like too massive, and that's kind of the reason why they stopped being a band because they couldn't like make that much money.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they stopped being a
Especially
band.
because they were doing streaming during COVID, and they were trying to get the band back together from doing that, but I think it fell through. So I don't know.
Man. Well, maybe I'd be willing to listen to more of their stuff.
I think the problem is their last album was fucking awful. Like it
Was
was
it
very
really?
it,
Was it
yeah,
that
it
bad?
was just bad. It was bad. It wasn't even like it was like, oh, this is their weakest album. Like no, it was just a bad. Like they were bad songs.
Wasn't like yeah, it just wasn't the best. Yeah.
Yeah, they switched. They switched to a more like southern rock indie kind of softer. I don't even know how to do. They totally switched their style on the last two albums that they did, but the last one that was just a nail in the coffin. I think
Really?
that's why it kind of killed them as a band. I think their last album killed them. Honestly,
All right. I'll take your word for it. It was like
it's a
their Saint Anger.
no. It was worse than their State Anger
Oh, okay. Because like
because
Saint,
that didn't kill Metallica.
yeah, it didn't really.
That, was,
Well, I
that just
mean,
got them made fun of.
well, I mean, really though, like, did they get that much better?
I think so.
Well,
I
well,
don't.
I was just kind of playing devil's advocate because
I
I like their what's that their most recent one like in 2016. I forget the name of it.
oh yeah, was it Moth into Flame or is it the
No,
title track?
that was like a song on it.
Oh, I don't remember.
Let me see. Oh,
Damage.
it was Hardwired to Self Destruct. That's what it's called.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think. I
liked
mean,
it.
obviously
Had some
they're
good riffs in it, and they like I liked how like they still proved that like like they could do something kind of like reminiscent of their old music,
Yeah.
and they didn't just like go like alternative and stuff.
I think with them, like, I don't think. I guess let me restructure this. I don't think they got better, but I don't think they got worse. I think they just stayed semi consistent with their sound. But I don't think any newer riff
Yeah, like
is
it was
pretty
just a
memorable.
right, like it was a logical extension of like what they had already done. Moth into a Flame
Yeah,
is I think is a great song.
I do like that song a lot. But like, if you listen to the riff, like, it's not as distinct as
Eh,
like a lot of their early riffs
yeah,
are distinct.
yeah, he's like, yeah, I agree. But I really like yeah, like the riffs are not distinct, but I like the lyrics actually on this album. I
Yeah.
think they have good lyrics, and I like their talk about. And I know they talked about this before, but it just it resonates more because they're older here. Like when they're talking about coming home from battle, and like like all the stuff and like just dealing with depression,
Yeah.
like on confusion. I really like that song.
I think with them, this is just a byproduct of making music for fucking decades. Is they've always been catchy, and that's kind of been the biggest distinction of why they're more popular than bands like, Megadeth or Slayer.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't categorize Pantera because Pantera was more of a heavier band, even though they're part of the Big Four. Like, they're like a lot of like death metal guys like Pantera more than they like Metallica.
true.
Slayer just was.
Never listened
I
to
have a
them.
lot of shit to say about Slayer, but I don't want to get into that. They're always hit and miss for me. But Metallica's always been like commercially catchy. Like people
Oh
are like,
yeah,
you go to a bar in the yuppiest city, like boomers are dancing to Enter Sandman. It's just
yeah. You told me that, which surprised me.
it's yeah, it's just they've always had that hook. So
Yeah,
I
and
think that's what they've stayed consistent on.
I really and I like I said, I really like their lyrics too. Like on "Injustice for All,"
Yeah,
which I think still is my favorite album of theirs.
it cracks me up. You think that's their best album?
I said my favorite, not necessarily their best, but like even so,
Oh, your favorite.
even if I said it was the best, what do you take issue from that?
I don't take issue from it. I just think it's funny that that's
Well,
the
no,
one
no, but
that
like why do you think that it's funny? Is what I'm asking.
because it's like besides State Anger, it's a very memed on album,
Is it?
especially. But actually,
Is
the
it
more that I think
really?
about it,
I didn't wait.
it's
How?
more of the production. But the more I'm thinking, never mind. I'm thinking because like the songs are actually good on that album. It's just the production was god awful. That's the biggest. That's what people make fun of it. Like people always
Oh,
make fun of Metallica for the production that they choose to do,
oh yeah,
especially
no, no,
from Saint.
no. That is definitely valid. Um,
But Sink Anger was a double whammy because not only was the production bad, the fucking music was bad too.
yeah, exactly. The and Justice for All, like I really like the yeah, like I said, I love the lyrics. I love the album cover. That's just badass.
Yeah.
They
I
have
like
really,
Blackened. I think is my favorite one off that album. Is that on? Wait,
yeah, that's the
Blackened is on that album, right?
it is yeah, like it's the opening
Okay.
track. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
I always get confused with their albums.
I love the title track for Injustice for All.
Yeah,
I love what he's saying about like how they want us to just be apathetic.
yeah,
It's or like how he says Lady Justice has been raped. That's a very powerful line. Like we're
yeah.
like yeah, like we're being robbed of our justice essentially.
I forgot one's on that album too.
It's honestly like
Officer of Sorrows. Yeah,
one is probably like my least favorite song on the album. I really like the song, but I think it's the worst one on the album.
I think it's the most popular one. Was that
It
their single?
is, yeah, but like that typically happens though with a band like this where it's like more mainstream. Like the
Because it's
most
catchier. I think it's the
right, exactly.
catchiest one on the album.
It's catchier. It's not really as heavy until like midway into the song.
I think people like the theme of it,
Yeah, I
the
could see
the, the
that, and I
war coming back and injured theme.
yeah
But that's the one thing that,
yeah, but
which I
I
think is
think
really funny.
they can do that better in like other. I think they've done it better in other songs.
I agree, and this is the one thing that is really funny to me because a lot of people that aren't like you watch like the reaction channels on YouTube, the people that aren't into metal, and they listen to it and like they actually read the lyrics, and it's like they're really confused. They're like, this is totally different from what like they're like anti-government, anti-war, and a lot of people are that way now. But back in the day, like that's a very, I mean, it's still kind of a, I don't think it's a very controversial. I feel like the only controversial thing is like not supporting the troops and not supporting the cops, as opposed to just being critical of the whole system. But like metal has
Oh
always
yeah.
been anti-establishment since its conception, and that's part of the reason why it's been spun by the media to saying it's like demonic and all that shit. Because it's just a far cry from them. Just their message of being against just totalitarianism is the biggest thing.
I mean,
So like people were shocked to hear how like anti-war and violence Metallica actually is, as opposed to thinking that their lyrics are aggressive and violent.
yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like people think it's inciting violence. Like no, that stuff
Yeah,
is demonic, and that stuff I probably wouldn't listen to. No, but like Metallica, like you said, like when you actually listen to it, not only is it like it's like anti-war and all this. I mean, who isn't anti-war? Like I'm anti-war. Like I hate that term. Like,
well, okay, I guess
but
not anti-war, but
no,
like critical of the government.
I know what you mean, right? Yeah, but I mean, it's like who isn't critical of the government? Like who is holding up the government on a nobody, right? But yeah,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Like not only is it like is it not only is it like anti kind of like it's critical of like systems and things like that in institutions, but it's like it also talks about like themes of like suicide and war and
drugs.
yeah, it's like addiction. That's like probably their most famous riff. Like I'm sorry, like theme
Yeah,
is addictions and fighting those.
Master of Puppets.
Yeah,
Cut your
man.
breakfast on a mirror.
Yeah, man. I love that album cover of like the hands pulling the strings on the graves.
Well, that's the whole entire point of that album too. The puppet the puppet master pulling the strings of the dead soldiers. That's the whole entire fucking point.
Hey, but I mean, I just think the album cover is really cool,
Yeah, it is a good album cover.
and like the coloring
Very
of it.
retro.
Yeah, and like I
Yeah.
Ride the Lightning, I think works really well as just that. It's so 80s thrash metal. It's like
Yeah.
it's their most unique album in my opinion. Like
Yeah, it definitely solidified them as a thrash band with that one.
yeah, because I think yeah, it sounds very different than the rest of their stuff. Um, For Whom the Bell Tolls and Creeping Death are just, I think those are bangers.
Yeah, that's I think that's probably my favorite album of theirs.
You is Ride the Lightning.
Yeah,
Okay,
if I had to pick one.
not Kill 'Em All.
Something about that album it just doesn't do anything for me. I don't know why.
I think
And I don't want to say the production because in all reality, like bad production won't stray me away from liking a song if I think it's a genuinely good song. But for some reason with that one, it just seems too dated for me. I don't know why.
for me, it's not necessarily that for me. It's probably just like I think they just weren't as sophisticated yet, and like you can see a
Well, it
lot
was
of
their first album, like
right because like there's just a lot. Oh, right, exactly. But because like there's a lot of just like segments in the songs where it's like the same repeated thing, and they're not really good at like mixing it up and just like keeping me into it. Like a lot of the songs, I'm just
yeah.
like, man, this could have been shorter, or like, or he could have done something different here to
I think
um,
it's all about potential because you can look at a bunch of people's first albums and you can just tell directly from their first album like they're never going to get any better, there's no actual potential in this, or they're not going to change their style or whatever. But like when I listen to people's first albums, it's like, man, how do bands ever get famous if like the first albums are sometimes usually like the worst ones and they just
yeah,
keep get, like how do they ever get their break? But I think it's because like you can tell they have the potential to be a really great band from that album. And
yeah,
obviously there's people that genuinely really love the songs in the album. Not saying that, but like I think just overall like to catapult them as the most popular metal band on the planet from that album. I don't even think that was I don't know much of their history. I don't know what album blew them up, but I don't think it was the first one.
I'm pretty sure it was Ride the Lightning,
Yeah.
and I think Master of Puppets
Um,
was like the like
that's the most
they're
mainstream one, I think.
really
Master of Puppets, I think so.
no, I
Yeah.
think the most mainstream is the Black Album.
What were the song? Man, I don't fucking.
Black Album is like
What
Enter
was
Sandman, Sad But True, Wherever I May Roam. Nothing else.
Enter Sandman's on the Black Album?
Yeah.
I thought that was on Master of Puppets.
No, no, no. Master
Oh, okay.
Puppets is like
So
Orion, Battery,
Okay,
Leper
I
Messiah.
don't know.
Yeah. Sanitarium. Oh, that's a banger.
Sanitarium.
Yeah. I love that opening riff. It's really
Yeah.
nice. But yeah,
Okay.
I think the Black Album is their most mainstream.
I guess I don't know which one's more popular, Enter Sandman or Master of Puppets. I don't know which one is a more popular song. I
I
assume it's Enter Sandman.
I think yeah, I think Enter Sandman. Like everyone knows that. I think.
Yeah, but everyone also knows Master of Puppets too.
Well, I think people more just remember the idea of the album, not necessarily like the actual song.
Uh,
Because I think the actual song is not as like people know Enter Sandman.
well, I guess like Netflix, the Stranger Things shit really popped it off back in the. So I don't know if it's more popular now because of that,
Yeah, I don't. I guess so.
especially with like the younger kids,
With the kiddos.
the kiddos, the Gen Zs,
Yeah,
of which I'm a part of.
yeah,
Or I guess what's the newest one? Generation Alpha.
yeah. All the people who took the red pill.
That red pill. That'd be really funny if it was a red pill generation. Just all these 12-year-olds are like,
I mean, we're
women
gonna
need to be
have that.
traditional.
Well, no, because I think red pill like misses the whole point. It's like, yeah, we're gonna like do all these traditional things without recognizing where all this traditional stuff comes from and understand why that's how it was. And also, like, what really pisses me off about these people is that they're just like, yeah, like, fuck women. We don't. I'm like, what do you mean, fuck women? They're half of our species. Like, the men complement women and women complement men. Like, and also, like, how are we going to continue our, like, anything if you just say stuff like that? It's like the feminists. It's the exact opposite side of the spectrum, you know? Like,
I think it's just because the whole goal is not actual, self growth. The goal is just to, sell you on your insecurities and make you believe this narrative that you're more special than you think you are and that the other person's out to fuck you,
well, yeah,
which is
exactly.
good general life.
It's that, and then it's like the whole like it's just like the whole like you just need to be like relying on yourself. Like you don't need a woman, and it's like no, you need a woman just as much as like a woman needs a man. You know, like
I think I mentioned this the last time. I think they give you good individual tips to help better yourself as a person
right. Like
and help
is
like
it
grow your discipline, but they have
yeah.
very shitty advice when it comes to socializing with other people, especially from the other gender. Like that's where they're disingenuous.
Oh yeah, or like all of that, and it's like if they give you some advice of like the how to be more confident or something, or like how to like 6 signs like a girl likes you. It's like, is that true? Probably, but it's like the best thing you can do is to just talk to someone and be yourself. That's really the best thing you could do.
No, the best thing you can do is fucking learn the people you need to stay away from, and then
Well,
in that
exactly,
you'll
yeah,
find.
right,
You
but
don't even have to worry about that shit. You don't have to look up top 10 ways to fucking get
right and
women. Like you'll just come into your life
right and like you could,
if you.
but like yeah, like you could, and you could just do like you said, you could. I think like you can know who and who you should not be around just by being yourself, right? Because if you're fake, you're gonna be around people that you know you shouldn't like who just are like you've sold on a lie, right?
Yeah, it's like once you do the personal growth shit, if you have that down, you're not gonna need that. Of like the right people are gonna come into your life. Unless you're just fucking ugly, then you're fucked. But
I know, and if that's like right, it's like that is the philosophical question of our time. Why does God make some people so ugly?
well, I think just
Like
like the
that's
just
not
to make
fair. I
sure
mean,
the rest of us how good we have it. I don't know.
yeah. Oh,
But I think like if you're ugly and you're not funny, you can be as confident as you want, but it's just life's not going to be fun, and it's unfortunate. It shouldn't be that way, but it is.
being ugly, not funny, and you're not smart is like the worst combination ever.
God,
Like
obviously
what
that
could
shit
be
is
worse?
subjective, but like I can't like because I'm sure there's someone out there that thinks like you and I are all three. So it's like it doesn't matter how many people like you. There's at least one person that hates every single aspect of you. So it's like you're ugly, you're not funny, and you fucking just suck at everything in general.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's
Um,
like I'm pretty sure that there's a billion people who think that about me, but it's
yeah.
like that's not gonna stop me from doing what I'm doing. Like,
There's other people. I mean, there's just so many, and that's I think what people don't understand is like there's so many goddamn people out there. Like you can fall in love 10 times in your lifetime if you really want to. Like people are like, oh, I can't find somebody. This is so difficult. It's just like work on yourself. That's the reason. Like there's a reason
yeah,
why you're not getting somebody,
right, and
especially
also
if you're not like fuck ugly. Like there's a lot of people that are attractive that they seem to have trouble with dating or they can't find somebody that is for them. Half of it is at least your fault, if not all of it. Like at least like half is a very statistically safe number to say two people coming together, 50% my fault, 50% your fault. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's reasonable.
You pointing any fingers?
Dude, I'm pointing at myself. Like there's times where I've had like struggling with that kind of shit, or like I've been with people that I couldn't like. I always ask myself like, why the fuck can I see this coming? Or I've
Oh
also
yeah,
made mistakes. You know what I
where you
mean? Like,
got played? Yeah.
but here's the thing though, you fucking like you need to go through that shit because then you need to learn what not to do, and you can't like very few people
I
get
learned
lucky
that
on the
shit.
first try.
I
Like
learned that shit the hard way.
my mom's been married twice. My dad's been married once. My dad got lucky and found it one time. You know what I mean? But my mom had to do it 2 times. Like shit just happens. Life is not simple. So I hate when people boil it down to like, oh, this is the reason. Like, no, it's a plethora of fucking reasons. Half your fault, half their fault,
It's boiled
or
down
more.
to there's alpha males and beta males.
Yeah. Maybe it's 70-30. Maybe 70% your fault, 30% their fault. Or if you date somebody that's really political, 100% their fault. Like, it's different from every person you meet.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, I just watched this video where it was like literally like he was showing this video. How was it? It was like, oh yeah, he was explaining why you shouldn't be sad if you're single based on this regular show episode. And how like people think that like I'm not in a relationship, therefore like I have no worth,
Yeah.
and then it's like no, and like also how like you shouldn't be sad that like this one person out of like 7 billion human beings like wasn't the one. It's like there's literally 7 billion other people.
I think what's more difficult than being like alone when you're single is feeling alone when you're in a relationship because you
Oh,
can
I bet
fall in
that can
love
happen.
with
Yeah.
you can fall in love with somebody completely when you're full into a relationship. That's so fucked up, but it happens and we can't control it sometimes. You know, and I think it's just I don't know. There's no one fucking answer. But what I know for sure is that those people are being disingenuous by telling that it's this like this is the fucking secret sauce. This is the ingredient.
No, anytime they're trying to
You
sell
lying
me,
10.
no, anything that is being sold as the secret sauce is bullshit. I'm sorry. When it comes to selling anything,
I
like,
don't know, like that's the whole point of advertising. The whole point of advertising as a whole is to pick out an insecurity or something. You create a thing that people didn't know they needed and that you have to be the one that can fill that hole and only you can do it and you're better than everybody else in your competition.
definitely.
So it's like it doesn't matter what it is. Like everything every person that's trying to sell you something, it's because it's playing off of the mindset that it's something that you don't have. Whether that's a physical product or an illness or a
Yeah.
lifestyle
Yeah,
or
or
a
like
piece of clothing.
you're
Like
just ugly,
everything is like you
like
don't have this. This is what you need. It's like how the fuck do you know what I need? Like oh, I
well,
know
yeah,
what you need
exactly.
because
No,
this is what society.
that's what makes it insidious.
Yeah, but
Like,
I mean you can't not. I mean there's. It's like it's the same thing with jokes though. It's like jokes are inherently cruel because there has to be a
oh,
victim,
yeah, right, but like
right?
I don't think no, I don't think advertising as a whole is bad. I think advertising in the way you said it is just I think it shouldn't be a thing. Like
What
adver
my point is like it's by design. It's meant to fill a gap So like, even if it's not insidious, like the fact that you feel the need, like besides necessities, the fact that you feel the need to buy something means that you're
Right.
missing it. You get what I'm saying?
Right, like you need to come to Will's salsa club because no one else is has a salsa club like this. So
Yeah,
I'm filling a
and
need,
that's
and I'm saying that you suck, and you need to spice up your life and go to the club.
yeah. And especially like with poor people thinking that they're left out by society because most of the time, like especially nowadays, like any like people value very material shit, cars, clothes, jewelry, bitches. It's all physical.
Right? Yeah, right. Exactly.
And
Like
most of the time, you need money to sustain that shit. And if you don't have it, then you're worthless. Your
yeah, right.
intellect is different. Like only very few people actually value intellect or personality.
Yeah,
I
like
think very few people actually value those things,
I'll put
and
it.
that's not being like, oh, we're lost. Like no, like just like by design.
Oh yeah, no, like no, just like they don't have a lot of people like just don't have a respect for intelligentsia. If you see what I'm saying by that.
Intelligentsia.
Yeah, of just like
Intelligente.
of just the ability, so to speak, like just the ability to deal with advanced concepts and advanced abilities and just and things like that and like classical education and stuff like that. Um and also just like how people have like just this black and white view of just like corporations bad. Like if you wear a white collar and a tie, like you're bad. It's like you're just the soulless corporate, like ugly, like no, like that's not a good way to look. Like that's not a good lens to look at reality through. You know, because it's
Right.
like if that's like it's because like with Fight Club, like Fight Club has a lot of good stuff in it, but I think like where it just it's harmful, not just in like the nihilistic terrorism like and in how it incites violence against like our institutions and our elected officials. Because I'm like we really should like that's kind of fucked up, but also like um how it's like is the main character living like just like a boring like is he working a boring, meaningless, soulless job where he has to wear the suit and it's like the same thing as everybody else and it's like yes, he is. And is that bad? Yes, but it's like at the same time like as long as you have like if you have like Judeo-Christian values and like you value, like your family and your friends and like your community and like you go to church essentially, like most people just look at that as just something that you just have to deal with in life. Like all right, I got to deal with this stupid job, but I mean if it cuz like the main character is just using all the money he gets just to pay for his like nice apartment and just buy shit that he doesn't need. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
right, because all of it is really just the motive. Because it's like, what are you doing it for? It's like, if are you doing it right for that nice apartment and like this shit that like doesn't matter? Yeah, that's pretty meaningless, and that's gonna make you feel really depressed. But it's like, and so yeah, so if you're looking at it from that perspective, yes, that is a very oppressive like that's a very oppressive like corporate environment, I guess. But like when you look at it through the like lens of, oh, I need to go through hell for my friends and family and my community. So like this job is just it's just one of those things I have to deal with, right? So and if you do that and like that's what you're investing your money in, then like it doesn't seem all that bad anymore.
Well, I think it's just with anything. If you just go into it with the right mindset, you can.
Exactly,
I
yeah. Because a lot of
I'm
people that
not.
are just like, oh, like we're fucked. Our society is just done. It's like no, we're not. Like come on.
I think we'll get there eventually. I don't see any more progress to be made. Honestly, I think we've. I know we talked about it. I think we've. I don't think we've reached peak innovation, but I think we've reached peak society. Like, I don't think it
peak
can get
like
much. I don't think. I
peak
don't think it can get
cringe.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Peak
I think
stupidity. Yeah.
I think we can only go worse from here, regardless of, people argue how soon our entire species is going to collapse in on itself, whether it's by a naturist force or if it's just by our own hand. But I don't think it'll get better. I think it'll just slowly keep getting worse. I don't think it'll be I think the roller coaster's over. Because I remember my dad was telling me, like, even like with this grandparents' generation, like every generation, like the world's going to hell. Like every person has that idea that their generation is going to be the last, the last good one.
Man, I didn't
You know.
realize that. But I like,
But I, I,
but
I
the
honestly
boomers
think that
didn't
we're
think
not going
that.
to get better.
The boomers just thought that life just goes on and everything's happy, right? Just because they had everything.
It's funny listening to someone like George Carlin rip on the boomers because he's older than the boomers, but like in his
I
mind, they're the
know.
younger, spoiled generation that got handed everything, and now they're all fat adults.
Yeah, that's funny though. Yeah, because like he's
They
the
went from cocaine to Rogaine,
he's like
and
part
now
of
they're
the
counting grams. Only it's fat grams.
yeah, he's like the silent generation. I think those are like that's like right
Yeah,
before the boomers.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting that he was complaining about boomers as an older person, not a younger person.
No, but
Just shows how shitty of a generation they are.
but it's funny how it dates his stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's like oh, an older person was complaining about the boomers as a younger generation. Man, man, that's crazy to think about that it's that old. But
Yeah.
oh, as you were
They're fucking
saying though,
old.
yeah, no, exactly. But as you were saying with like the like this you have your priority is all in this like material things, right? And so that's like when I see these signs and when I'm driving in DC for doing the deliveries, and I see these signs for like these programs that are just like it says I serve lunch at my kids' school cafeteria, but we don't have money to put food on the table. I'm like, what are you spending your money on? Like seriously, like you really can't afford that. It's like like I'm like it's my same assessment I have with people that say they don't have time to pray. I'm like, examine everything you're doing in a day. You have time, like it's just certain things where it's just like you just don't need this, and like you don't need that, and you can just spend more time with God and stuff like that.
Yeah. I, my opinion on this always changes because I I empathize with the fact that most of the time shit is just getting like way more expensive. The cost of living is rising. Like it is getting very like most people are
Sure,
living paycheck to paycheck. I don't
sure,
think very few people claim that they can't like afford to feed themselves or afford like unless they're just going to be borderline homeless. But these days there's a lot of jobs that are like starting to pay you a little bit more money than minimum wage for not having any like college degree or like even a high school degree. Like there's a bunch of like obviously you're gonna struggle to live, but like I don't. There's very few like if you're working full time, no matter what job you do, like I don't like obviously you don't have much money to do anything besides pay your fucking bills and feed yourself. That's like the essentials. So like anything like with hobbies or outside of that, that's gonna be where you don't have any sort of fun. And I kind of go back and forth with the sentiment of like, for people that are poor and they can't seem to get out of being poor, so it's like, are they really just gonna live their life struggling paycheck to paycheck, or like, are they gonna buy a video game every now and again and not eat or whatever?
well,
So
right, and
it just depends.
it is the question of like you know if like because it's like um I've heard the sentiment where it's like, like if they just like want to drown their sorrows in a beer, like have at it, like
Yeah,
that is their decision, and I understand
I
that.
th-
Or like yeah, like
I think for me, sorry, go ahead. Let me cut you off.
or like yeah, I want to buy that video game or something. I don't know, like just something.
Yeah,
But I just
I
think
think
it's
it just
just
depends.
sorry. Well, I just think like, it's just that is just even more so just a lack of like they don't have a community and they don't have like they don't go to church or anything like that and they don't have like they don't see those kinds of like they don't see Jesus in these different situations. Um, but yeah, because like also like when you look at well, you talk about like well, like why are like well, okay, not necessarily why, but you were saying like, things are more expensive now and everything. But it's like when you take a look at it, I mean, it makes more sense because it's like the more and more we have all of these things that are just seen as like this is like this needs to be in like every single person needs to have this. Like a television or air conditioning or water, like running water in your house.
Yeah.
Like that's unprecedented in human. Like I just go I can walk like 2 feet and I can just get water and I'm hydrated.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like I said, electricity. You can have a stove. You can have all these kitchen appliances which make your life easier and stuff like that. And you can have air conditioning. Like the more and more you have that in every single person's home, like that's expensive as shit. You know.
Yeah.
So like,
The one argument that I always hated that people that like, oh, you see these people walk around asking for money, but they have a smartphone. Like, no shit, that's like required for modern everyday life.
no.
Especially if you need to look for jobs or try to make money in more
Oh
passive
yeah.
ways, like you need a smartphone
My
because it's cheaper
problem.
than a laptop for the most part. But
Oh
actually,
yeah.
let me take it back. It's cheaper than a shitty laptop.
Oh
Like
yeah. Because
you
like
can get a shitty
the
laptop, but it's not going to do you much. Like a nicer smartphone is going to do you better than a shitty laptop.
Oh yeah, because your smartphone is a computer. But no, but my
Yeah.
problem is not they have a phone. My problem would be like they're buying the new iPhone every year. You know?
Well, yeah, if you're retarded if you do that, but the people don't know that. They just automatically assume that like they'll see somebody with a smartphone that needs help and they just assume that they can. It's like this. First of all, smartphones have been out for fucking at least strong like 10 years, more than
Yeah.
10 years,
Yeah.
right? Like you can like that's a safe number. Like so for 10 like what do you expect people to have a flip phone?
Yeah. No,
Like
literally. I don't even
the
think
fuck?
those are operational anymore.
Yeah.
But
So it's just like what the fuck?
no, I also have a problem with like it's like they're begging and like they're on the streets, but it's like they're wearing like super expensive clothes. It's like, I wonder why.
It depends. Like you don't know if they bought it or someone gave it to him. Who knows? I think you have to find more evidence. Like if you see the homeless guy, because like I've seen stories of people will watch and then they'll get in like a Mercedes after they're done begging in the streets. So like, and if that's the case, then like okay, you got played. But I don't know. Just because somebody has nice shit doesn't mean that first off they bought it. That might be the only pair of clothes they have.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
exactly. So I'm like, why is that what you're spending your money on?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they bought it, but again, because again, like part of the reason why people are poor. I mean, there's millions of reasons. So, like, if
I just think it's
drugs being
just
one of them, or their parents are abusive, or whatever the fucker is, just you
right. I
have
think
some sort of
it's
disability, like whatever the thing is.
it's like these two things. It's essentially like you didn't have a good family, you didn't have any family, or like you just don't know how to spend money. Right? Like
Yeah. So
not having a family, that's not necessarily your fault, right? Like exactly like you said, having abusive, like that's not really your fault. But then there's the other category, like I
or
said,
no
where
support system, rather. No
right,
support system.
right, it's like you have no outlet, like a church or anything, where you could feel like a sense of belonging, right? Um, but then there's the other category, like I said, where it's like you just don't know how to spend your money very well.
I I think honestly, it's so there's I think it's you just have to categorize different types of people. The people that work full time and are poor, and those people are not good with money. Like they can say all of
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
stuff that they've had handed like that's been against them, but like if they don't have a disability and they don't have like a good reason to where they can't find a better job, like for example, like Amazon. Take a company like Amazon. Like working in their fulfillment centers is rough. It's a brutal job. But
What's the
they're
fulfillment
taking
center?
like doing warehouse shit.
Oh, I
Like it's
bet.
long
Yeah.
hours, like it's they don't treat you that well. It's the pay is not that good, but I guess you get some benefits. But they're server technicians, like they're like starting off like 40, 50 grand, and like you don't even have to have a college degree. You just have to have some proficiency with technology. Or the people actually, you know what? I can narrow this down even further. The people that I can't stand are the people that stay in restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
work in restaurants their whole life and they complain about being broke. 100% their fucking fault. I have talked to so many of those people, and like they'll tell me about their life, and I can think of 5 things off the top of my head. If they changed that day, they could be in a better position. All they do is drink and buy tattoos and smoke. That's like legitimately the majority of their money,
You're starting to
and they
sound like
wonder why they're broke.
you're starting to sound like me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People use that argument for everybody, which isn't the case. But for people that work full time in restaurants, like when they're in their 30s and 40s, that is 100% the case. They are shit with money, and they don't want to do like they're just gonna stay there forever. They have no ambition. They complain about how hard life is, yet they don't fucking do anything to change it. They just keep floating from restaurant to restaurant. And most
Right,
of
it's
them are
like
drug addicts, so that's another
yeah,
thing. Most of them are fucking drug addicts or alcoholics.
it's like I got a new job at another restaurant.
Yeah. I can't
Oh,
tell you how many people I've like the turnover is insane. Like when I worked, like in a year I must have met like 40 fucking people like that worked at where I was. Like this is retarded.
yeah. Um,
But also a lot of people are there just because they just got their college degree and they're just doing that till they find their career job, or some people will bartend and then move into real estate.
well, yeah,
That's another
that's what those jobs are good for. They're for like people that are in school and stuff like that.
plus it's cash. It's like they're fucking retarded. They blow untaxed money. Like, are you dumb? You
Yes,
don't
they
even
are.
like, dude. Even in the modern age, like when I worked at a couple restaurants, you only had to report the electronic credit card tips on the computer, and that's what was reported to the IRS. You never like the managers did not give a shit. Like they never forced you to report your cash tips, so that's free fucking untaxed money, and it was like the majority of your income because like your paycheck was only, minimum wage if you didn't get fucking tip enough that week.
Pretty
Obviously,
sure
it's like a dollar.
it was like less than minimum wage, right?
Well, no, it's less than minimum wage, but if you don't get tipped, if the amount of money you make in tips doesn't equal minimum wage, your paycheck will change to cover it. That's generally how it works at most restaurants. Otherwise, the majority of it's like $1-2 an hour, but you make all your money in tips. And like I said, most of it are cash tips.
Right. Okay.
And this is not even outdated. Like the last time I worked in a restaurant was like 2018.
Oh well, that was not that long
So
ago.
this isn't like fucking 10 years ago.
Right, yeah. Well, that was it's not a whole decade ago. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I get most people probably like tip. Like I don't carry cash. I can't even remember the last time I left a cash tip. I always left like credit card tips.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but people still do tip a lot in cash, and I know for a fact it's the majority of people's taxable income is not reported in restaurants, and they're blowing the money because they're fucking stupid.
Exactly.
And I can say that because I fucking know these people. I'm not like some boomer on the outside looking in. Like I have a frame of reference. I've talked to so many of these motherfuckers.
You're not like kids don't play outside
Yeah.
anymore.
And the people that do have ambition, they fucking leave. The people that are very
I
good, they don't stay
I left
because
McDonald's
restaurants
today.
are shitty and they don't pay you well.
Do you put McDonald's under
No, that's
restaurants?
not even close. That's no.
That's a
I'm talking
similar
about like
category though. Like you
no,
work.
it's not. No one tips you at
No,
McDonald's.
no, 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 no. But where it's like people that like work at fast food their entire life, and all that stuff. Like,
Well, you do have a chance to move up.
oh,
Like
that's
fucking
true.
Adrian.
Yeah,
Like
like
Adrian's 18 and he's already a man. Like if you just have to like. And
that is true. I forgot about that.
here's where I'm gonna lose a lot of people because I generally am empathetic and I will like usually help people around me. Like I do a lot of charitable stuff and not just like donating money. Like I donate my time. A lot of time I help people fix and build things. I'll donate toys. We'll go around and deliver. Like I do a bunch of shit. And I've always helped out my parents move shit or my friends. Like I'm always there for people doing things. Like I'm not a cold-hearted person, but there are just some people that are useless. And they're going to stay that way, but they're going to be the loudest that complain about it and they're going to overcrowd the people that genuinely do need help and they can't get out of their situation because of other factors like I said, disability, mental illness, whatever the fuck have you, or they have mountains of medical debt that it's just fucking ruined their life and their credit. So like there's a bunch of, and like I said, the fact that everything's getting more expensive, inflation's not keeping up with wages, like there's a bunch of reasons for people to stay poor in this country, but there's also millions of ways to move up. Like I don't have a college degree, I dropped out, but I have hard work and ambition. I really have a passion for what I'm doing and it's working. I'm not content with where I'm at, so that's why I'm able to move up, and I don't have a fucking college degree.
And another thing, like I must add, is like you're a very presentable person, right? Like you look like you take care of yourself. Like you don't look like a bum. You dress nicely, you know. I mean, you don't dress like me, but I'm not
Well, I'm
saying
not. I'm not gonna.
I'm
I'm not
not
gonna
saying
wear a
I
fucking dress
right.
shirt like working on shit. I'm gonna get dust and all that other bullshit
Well,
everywhere.
right, exactly. I know that, but also I'm saying like I'm not saying I dress
I have
better.
suits, motherfucker. Don't judge me.
Right, exactly. I'm not saying I dress better. Like I dress like that because I'm better than you. I just say like you're
No,
just not
I
wearing
I get
as
it.
nice
Yeah,
of the clothes. Yeah,
I understand what you're. Yeah, yeah.
like on a Saturday morning, I'm just yep. I'm gonna wear my vest.
Yeah, you and my girlfriend will agree. So
I'm gonna get right. I'm gonna get one of those like one of those hats. Um,
which ones?
what do you call it? They're like those hats you get on Peter Christian. Do you know that? Are you familiar with that?
No,
They're like really British. Um,
like a top hat,
no, they're not a top hat. They're like those
a
kind of like
fedora, cab hat.
they're those kind of like no, like they're I don't even know how to describe like what they're kind of they're not tweed. They're like let me see.
A straw hat,
Peter
boating
Christian
hat.
hat. Maybe a boating hat. Let me see.
Sailor's cap.
Ah, yeah. Um, the tweed flat caps. You
You
know,
just look
like
like a dick if you wear those.
exactly. Well, no, I'm just kidding. Because I don't like to come across as a dick, but
I don't know.
or like
Point being,
the baker's hats. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like all those stuff. They're
yeah. The
I
point being,
I need to get one of
there are.
those.
You should. There are a bunch of different ways that you can help your situation, and unfortunately, even like when it's not people's fault, like you have to make sacrifices. Like there's millions of things that I would like to buy that I think that would help me, but I can't because I can't fucking afford it, and I'm not gonna put myself into mountains of debt just because I want it. And
No,
that's not even like
I need it.
like it, that's I'm not even talking about people that are poor and want to buy like things that are nice that they can not feel like miserable all the time.
Or
That's
just
not
like
what, like, you're
things
not
that
going
you
to
know, like
spiral
a
yourself.
house. Yeah, like
Yeah, like in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to spiral yourself into debt because you bought a $500 PS5. Like that's just not like no. If you try to buy a like if you finance a car for like 10 years at like 12% interest, then that's a fucking terrible decision. But like splurging on like items like that if you're poor, I don't think is a bad thing. I think sometimes it'll even motivate you to be better.
yeah.
But if you live above your means and all you spend your money on is weed, alcohol, tattoos, and cigarettes, and you're working at fucking Red Robin and you're wondering why your life's not getting better, like there's things you can do. There just is.
I think tattoos are absolutely retarded. Like I'm
Well,
just gonna
it's
say
art.
it.
So it's
Like
like if you can make, but the thing is like you can make money. Like if you're a tattoo artist, you can make really good money.
no, I know.
Like
I don't care. I mean, like, yes. So do I respect the like the craftsmanship? Yes, but like I either way, I think they still look hideous, and I just think that it just screams like I need to be different and I need to be outlandish. You know?
what's funny now is that so many people have tattoos. Like they look at people without tattoos, like what the fuck is their what is their deal? Which is really funny, dude. The
Right.
amount of people that like ask me like they're like why don't you have any like it's not like oh I'm surprised you don't have any. They're like why did you not have any? I'm like what? Like are you
Yeah.
guys being like
You had
are
to
we
go with the
flipping in
mob.
society? Are the
Exactly.
non-tattooed people gonna be the fucking
Man, it's gonna be like
the odd ones out?
segregation. Yeah, exactly. No, like you're
Um,
gonna see me wearing like my suit and trench coat and top hat, and like I'm gonna be like the rebel, like the grunge dude.
it's because people think you're gonna shoot up a movie theater.
Yeah, trench coats are really fucking badass though.
Trench coats are ruined. Like no one can wear a trench coat anymore. Those have been forever ruined.
I
You can
bought
blame Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris for that.
and the Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator. You're either a massive dick or you're a fucking homicidal maniac. One of the two.
Or you're like an Austrian, homicidal robot.
And if you squeeze your trench coat too tightly, we know where you're marching.
Yeah. Well, I got this coat. It's kind of like a trench coat, but not really. It's like it's a suit coat. So like you can tell it looks different than a trench coat, but it looks really cool.
You know what channel you'd love on YouTube?
One.
It's called the Gentleman's Gazette.
I knew you were gonna recommend some bullshit like that.
It's like these three autistic dudes that are showing off fashion from like they call it classical fashion. So anything from a classical period of like all these different ascots and different ways to tie your tie and all these different hats and different suits to wear in the summer versus the winter and the proper etiquette to wear your cufflinks and all that shit. You'd get a kick out of it.
I love seasonal clothing. It's nice.
Check it out, the Gentleman's Gazette.
The Gentleman's Gazette.
It's the most autistic shit you'll see in your life, but it's really fucking entertaining.
All right.
You have the guy's German and he got like a lot of shit for he kept calling people peasants that don't dress in like classical clothing.
Oh, and he's like, what? That's literally what they were.
Like a peasant.
It's like, yeah, he's
exactly.
like, he's literally just saying what the time was like. Man,
You'd mesh well.
I would.
Yes.
Yeah. It's late,
But
and I need to sleep. Pero this one was pretty good.
yeah, this is a good one.
Yep. Always just keeps getting. Does it get better and better, or does it just keep staying at the same place it's been?
I think we're on a constant ride.
Yeah, because I don't think we've ever really done bad. I mean, obviously, let me take a look at the.
What we need to do to step it up to the next level is bring on a guest to antagonize.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I can't imagine three-way audio is gonna be a fucking bitch. Or like whoever we bring on, you better have a fucking mic and know how to record audio.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not doing this over the internet calling. It sounds like shit.
And I'm trying to edit together like the 3 tracks to get them linked. Oh,
that's easier to do with single recordings. Or if you have like somebody sitting next to you and you're both on the same mic.
I feel like if it was
2 audio tracks.
I feel like if it was Adrian, he's probably gonna pull some fuck shit, and he's probably gonna start it accidentally like 5 seconds later, and then.
Yeah, I don't trust people without audio skills.
Right, exactly. Especially not Adrian.
Needs a BFA, 5 years experience to be on our podcast.
Yep. Oh wait, did you notice I posted a playlist of Colombian music on my channel?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see this? This guy commented like he was like stop depicting Colombia as like this drug paradise and stuff like that.
Are you fucking kidding?
Right. And then I was telling him, I was like, that's not. He's like, stop glorifying like like killers. And I'm like, well, okay. I put the thumbnail as the actor and not like the actual Pablo Escobar because I'm showing I'm a fan of the show, not the fan of the narcos themselves.
Tell them to go write a letter to Netflix and tell them the same shit.
Right. Well,
Dude,
so
I love how of all the controversial shit that's been said over the hours that we do on these things, that's the fucking one.
I know.
Stop glorifying Colombian drug dealers. What?
Yeah, I'm like, it doesn't like it's not depicting the narcos as like good people. Like, I don't understand why people like narcos shouldn't be controversial. Like,
I don't think it is. I think people
like I'm just like it's just a fun action adventure, like kind of like drama with in the middle of Colombia with the backdrop of like Pablo Escobar is just like like I mean yeah, do they romanticize thing and fictional? Yeah, sure, because like they just depict him, he's like a Robin Hood and stuff like that, and like he's he's like he's just on the wrong like like he has good intentions, but he's with the like he's a very interesting character, right? Whereas like I think in real life he was not as such. Like I think he was very much more deranged in real life.
It's almost why it's called a dramatization as opposed to a fucking documentary. And also it's because
Exactly.
people have no fucking nuance. Like, as they see something that's bad, like, oh, whoever did this condoned it. Like, oh my god.
And then I'm just like, and it they also put like a warning at the beginning of like every episode, like this is based on real events, but like things have been fictionalized for like literary purposes, because that's literally what
that is
makes.
True. They do literally say that.
Yeah, they give you a warning in front of every episode, so I'm like, no, they warned you. Get over it.
Like, this is for the dumbasses that read their shampoo bottle.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, so I got
Slather then scrub.
I got Um, yeah, so here's the comment. It's please stop with the glorification of war on drugs, drug lords, etc. If there's something
That's
that still harm very deep in Colombian cultural integrity is this kind of stuff.
that's
It's
fucking funny.
it's 2022. Colombians want and need to move on from this kind of nonsense. They're much more than drugs, violence, and Hollywood-esque built-up sceneries.
You
They're
should have been like, if anything, this is more of a criticization on the U.S. government.
yeah, well, and also like the collusion of like literally the government of the host country being like in cahoots with the narcos.
Dude, I'm imagining like you picking like the compilation of the greatest American dad scenes, and some of the comments like, I really don't like how you glorify the CIA.
Oh, wait, I wasn't
Shut the
finished with the
fuck up.
comment though.
Uh-oh, it's
He
more.
says, okay, so they need more than Hollywood-esque built-up sceneries. They're brave, beautiful people that deserve so much better than this vague and bitter depiction. Enjoy the music, the art, go beyond superficiality. Put the images of the composers, the mountains, the beaches, the diversity hidden behind the cliche. And I see his point, how it's like it's cliche and very typical to think of like, like like Hispanic music and just associating it with like drugs and like the cartels and stuff like that. But it's like I just use that as just a way to just give this kind of like artistic flair to the playlist, like ooh, like it's set in Colombia and it's like Pablo Escobar. It's just he's a famous person. Like he was literally the richest person in like right,
He's the most famous Colombian of all time. There's like, name another Colombian that you know.
I mean, I know some other Colombians, but like, do you? Like
No.
other than just the people that were in the narco show,
Yeah, I'll just name other narcos.
right? Which like aren't even necessarily historically accurate. I mean, like
So
you,
the
you
entire problem was just using his picture in the song compilation.
yeah, because like who else am I gonna put? Yeah, yeah, exactly. The whole point is that, and also because like the name of the playlist, I guess he took issue with that. But I'm like,
What did you name it?
it's called Colombian Vibes: The Ultimate Narcos Experience. But also, I'm showing that like it's the, but I'm saying it's like the vibes of the show, not like
uh,
like not the actual Narcos in real life. Because like a lot of these songs were in the show.
you should put him in like a heart picture frame. Like, that'd been even funnier.
Where it's like him and his wife, like Pablo plus Tata forever.
Yeah, then like have like a cute face, like Pablo and his wife dancing in the fly, like some shit like that.
Yeah, that's playing like the Spanish love song or something.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
It's like, did you listen to the Narcos theme song? It's fucking beautiful.
It is actually though. Okay, so but I got that though, and then I got this other comment from another Colombian. He said, "I approve this playlist as a Colombian from the same place where Pablo Escobar was born." Haha.
God.
It is epic. I was instantly thumbs that up.
I'm all for stereotypes, so this is just a.
Yeah, like I mean, like stereotypes are based in some sort of truth.
It's like, would I go to Colombia? Yes. Would I go anywhere without a guide? Fuck no.
It got a lot better though, until they just elected this fucking socialist. But whatever.
They're not Venezuela, I'll say that.
It might become Venezuela. You never know. Because that's the problem with
Fuck.
these countries is that like they could get fined, and then it's like in the next 20 years, we're going back to you know.
I don't know how much meddling we do in South America anymore, so I don't know how much of it is still our fault.
I mean, I don't know how much we meddle everywhere, just because we're the most like influential and important country worldwide. Like we're literally
We do.
everywhere. You know.
I know, it's really fucking annoying. Like, can we. I just want to live a day without everybody not wanting to kill us.
Well, yeah, like it's like I think foreign aid is just stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's just that's not our business essentially. And it's like, are we
Foreign aid's. The only reason why it's dumb is because it could potentially start a fucking war, which is really stupid.
exactly? And also, it's like, are we helping these people? It's like yes, but it's
No.
also it's like, well, no,
It's
I
not a
mean,
per. It's
no,
not.
but
It's
even it,
not helping.
no, but even if you are, it's like people just make money off of it. Like they're not doing it, and also that, and it's like, why don't you just focus on like our own country, like in our own people?
Yeah.
You know, like why do you need to send like $1 billion to Ukraine? Like what? Why?
We should not even be anywhere
Exactly,
near that
like you
fucking
said, it
conflict.
literally just caused a war. Like
Because like Ukraine's not like again the government, not the fucking people. Like they're not a government you want to help.
no, they're like I said, they're a kleptocracy.
And I don't even want to
Mm,
entertain the idea of what would happen if we went to war with Russia. Like I can't imagine how many people would die.
klep. I'm looking up the.
Fucking, I feel like at least 1 billion people would probably die.
I'm looking at the. Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was looking up. I wanted to see what the Google definition of kleptocracy is
They
because
just steal everything.
I know what it is. Okay, it says in a yes, okay. Because
Ah, yes.
I feel like
Google.
okay, I feel like I explained it, but not well enough. So it is because a lot of people are confused when I say that term. So according to Wikipedia, in a kleptocracy, corrupt politicians enrich themselves secretly outside the rule of law through kickbacks.
That's literally everyone, though.
Well, I hadn't finished. Kickbacks, bribes, and special favors, or they simply direct state funds to themselves and their associates. Also, kleptocrats
Literally everyone.
Also, kleptocrats often export much of their profits to foreign nations in anticipation of
Literally
losing power.
everyone.
Right, so we're in a kleptocratic state.
That's like the entire. That's so vague though. That's literally every single fucking any person with power does all of those things at the same time.
No, but it's like add to it, like it's like all the elections are just bullshit.
Again, everyone does it.
Well, yeah, but it's like clear though.
I find it very amusing talking about elections. How people on the right thinks that China fuck with our elections, and people on the left thinks that Russia fuck with our elections. Yet they still want you to vote. So it doesn't matter what side you pick. Some country fuck with our elections. So
Well, yeah, I mean, no, I think it was within the country. I don't think it was like I
God,
don't buy into any of the China or the Russia. I'm like that's stupid. Like what?
I just it's like
No, but
they're
also
really trying to sell this voting thing, but also trying to accuse both sides of not being a fair election. So
no, but also I'm like if Russia like hacked our election, sorry, how would we like not number one know that, and number two, it's like how it's like does Russia have like we could just override it? Like they don't have like we have sovereignty over our own country. Like
like I said, they have to keep the illusion going that we actually have free elections in this country. So they have to like when it doesn't go whoever's way, they just have to find a scapegoat. And China and Russia are the biggest scapegoats because they're known for hacking. So there you go. And we hate both of them. Well, I don't I dude I'm always back and forth about who hates Russia and who hates China.
it's
I
very
fucking hate both of them.
confusing.
So
It's
I don't give a
so
fuck.
confusing.
Again, the government's not the people.
Yes, obviously. Um, yeah, no, but like the whole history of like just post World War II foreign relations between countries is so complicated. It's just like it's so much to take in. And it's like to process. It's like what? And
It's
like
like, what, we're not going to pretend that we're not in a proxy war with both these fucking countries
yeah, exactly.
while owing China so much fucking money.
Yep. And
I think that's probably the only reason why we haven't, like, escalated into a major war is because we owe them so much goddamn money. They rely on us at this point, and we obviously rely on them heavily for all of our industries.
yeah. Well, if they didn't have slave labor, then I don't think they could do it.
Yeah, no shit, but that doesn't mean anything because we still do it.
But I'm like, why don't we just fucking make shit here?
Because it's expensive, man. Why
yeah,
would you pay an American at least minimum wage when you can have some fucking Asian bitch do it for a hostage of her family?
yeah, no, but like that's fucked. I don't know, like, all right, I'm tired though because I just took some melatonin like 20 minutes ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell your liver good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.